22 weeks down, only 2 weeks to go here. And after tonight, we will know the 4 drivers that will try to etch their name in HTL history and try to win a championship and join an illustrious list of 4 drivers. But before we get ahead of that, we got to deal with the round of 8 finale tonight here at Bristol for the HTL Bristol 225. My name is Kevin Young, as always, here for the past 22 weeks, here for the last 2. And I'm joined by the lovely Carmen, Sienna, and Kristina Ryan as well, producing this operation as well. Carmen will join us a little bit later for warm-up and the race, and obviously Kristina usually doesn't speak much. So overall, though, we can see the first few cars lining out on the circuit, and just that time, we are ready to go. And the first car on the track is going to be the number 55 machine of James Wright, flanked by the 44 of Jeremy Braille. So 1 privateer and 1 Arrowhead Racing machine will start off this lovely evening. Obviously, you can see right now it is a beautiful sunny day in Bristol, but this will not be the conditions these drivers will race in tonight, as it will be a under-the-lights race to fight out for a championship. So 1 lap, I actually think it's 2 laps here. They do get 1 warm-up lap here, as Wright will come across the line now. We'll see as well as he puts down a time of a 14.92, which will be good enough at least for P1 right now, but he will get that second attempt here, so it is 2 laps on the short tracks. So he will now take his second attempt here. Can he improve on lap number 2? Well, he gets a little bit loose there, so that is not usually indicative, and he will hit the wall. So Wright will set the time, the rest of the field will have to beat. So I actually thought Braille was next in line. It is not. It's going to be Connor Morse. So Morse will be next, then Braille, as you see the next 2 cars in line. So Connor Morse, obviously the young gun of HTL, filling in that 74 machine usually piloted. Actually, that's not machine piloted by Trout. That is the machine piloted as an open tier car, as he's now going to take an attempt. So you can see this red, white, and blue star helmet trying to bring him lucky here in Tennessee. You'll see cars take different lines here, as we'll follow Morse here, and you can see indicative you kind of want to run that low line, but you can make that middle groove work, and I think most drivers will try it, but right there is the dangers of getting on the throttle a bit too early, changing a line, as Morse invalidates lap number 1. It was looking good to take pole, but it will not be good enough here. He'll have to take the second lap here. Gotta worry, he did not hit the speed out of that thing. We'll run a little bit of a lower line, coming across the line, and that will be good enough for pole. So Morse's second lap bails out the first one, and that is one of the benefits of having a short track qualifying system with 2 laps. It gives the drivers an extra attempt. If they do not, they invalidate. Next up, Jeremy Braille in the number 44 machine. He'll be the next car to fire off here. Remember, Braille was in the playoffs to start the round of 16. Came within a whisker of winning Kentucky to put himself in the round of 8, but that did not come to pass. Now back in this car, at least for tonight. We'll see if he can get back in that machine for Auto Club Fontana next week as well. Braille starts his lap now, as he will try to put that 44 on provisional pole, and he will run another middle high groove here, flirting with disaster. His time wasn't the greatest in practice. He ran one of the slower machines, but Braille is a driver of adversity. He knows how to get it going when the going gets tough. First lap right there, just a 10th away from Connor Morse's time right now, and is going to have to try to set a little bit quicker on lap number 2 to try to jump that 74 machine. Coming off the last corner, all clean and dandy. Is it faster? It is faster, and he will jump the 74 of Connor Morse. So put the 44 to the top of the point. Next up, Blake Henderson rising from the dead here. Obviously, we last saw him at Darlington, and after he had some PC problems, some other real-life events, he is finally back, and he is ready to rise and try to bring that purple and black Dead Man scheme nickname, coin the nickname he's been called, the Dead Man, trying to put that 25 on pole position. What's indicative, he did get pole last time he did race at Darlington, so overall, trying to keep that good trend going. Henderson's first lap going to be in the books here now, and it's going to be good enough for P3, but in the bubble that Morse and Braille were in, so the second lap will have to be faster if he wants pole position. So as he comes off the last corner here, the Tombstone Motorsports car will slot his machine, and actually will not improve, so lap 2 was not faster, and he will have to stay in P3 at least for now. Actually, last lap was a 14.90. His first lap was a 14.69. Honestly, worth noting as well, considering a 14.90 was fast enough back in the old Gen 4 days, as Larry Mack would say. Actually, I think it was a 13.90. It's positive 1490. Regardless, it was a 1490 as it was brought up. So obviously not good enough for pole here, but it was good enough for Ryan Newman on that day. Austin Mongold up next, though. Instead of talking old school NASCAR, we'll go back to the drivers on track and the Dr. Pepper man finally running the Dr. Pepper scheme. He will try to pilot that machine to pole position. First lap in the books, only good enough for P4 for the Ascent Racing driver. Gonna have to find that little extra speed if he wants to put it on pole position. Coming off of 3 and 4, Sector 1 was an improvement. Coming across the line. And he will improve, and he will put himself within a whisker of bumping Braille off the pole position, but just can't get the job done. He'll be right now provisionally front row, but on the outside looking in on pole position. Next up, Zachary Apperson in number 4 machine. Had some bad luck last week. Obviously was in the owner standings. Did get eliminated in the round of 16, the round of 8 transfer. But trying to make a good run here, as you can see, running the Mountain Dew scheme here. I think he's got a pumpkin on the hood there, or at least a Halloween-inspired livery. So getting in the season, zoomed in, well, it's kind of that little bit. Hard to tell still what it is, but first lap in the books for the Mountain Dew Reaper, and it's going to be P6 right now. Not quickly fast, but second lap seems to be the money lap for a lot of these drivers. Where can he put that purple machine? Coming off the last corner. And he will improve up 1 spot. And man, 1st through 5th, all under an umbrella here, but will be the slowest out of the 5 cars in that same range of the 14-6 bracket. Next up, Elias Flores, Ascent Racing's number 99, coming out to the track next. Flores has had a good season so far. Maybe not up to their standards, but has put some consistent runs. He's looking to try to maybe show off a little prowess on the short tracks as they start their flying lap. Very quick lap around here. Usually the time's about 12 or 15 seconds, so it takes 2 laps. Including your warm-up and your 2 laps, you basically have to be on throttle for about a minute, and then you are done with your 2 laps. Flores' first lap in the books, good enough for P6, but within a shout, the jump to that second lap improvement if they can find that little extra time. So as they come off of 3 and 4, car looked a little loose. They may have shaved some time. And it looks like that was the case. A little slap there at the end cost Flores. Flores will have to stay P6 for now. Alfred Denny up next. He will now fire off. Another driver that was in the round of 16 was a bounce after Kentucky after had that accident under pacing laps along with a few other drivers. Denny, a mainstay of HTL, has been a loyal soldier, has yet to find victory lane, but looking to finally try to find that first win, and also I think even try to get his first podium as well in HTL. He starts his flying lap now. He's showing off that seasoned prowess here in that Kevin Harvick good wrench-inspired scheme, even though he has run it week in and week out. First lap in the books. Good enough for P4 for the 29. 0.02 away from pole position. Actually, 0.03, so he's got to shout to make it a pole run. Look at that, running kind of low here, trying to get that best arc off the corner. Coming across the line. And it looks like he hit the wall. I saw it the last second there, and that was a wall tap. And that lap will not count, so it will have to be good enough for P4 for the 29 machine. Next up, the Canadian, Dean Clavitt. 2 races to go in the season, and he is on a mission to try to find victory lane in that number 90 machine. Came close at Atlanta earlier in the year, and knowing that the clock is ticking on a season here in HTL, he would like to try to find victory lane at least once before that time runs out. Starting his flying lap now, the Canadian is. Looks like he's kind of taking this lap as maybe a bit of warp. Doesn't look like he's most competitive down that straight here. Almost like he's kind of taking this conservatively here. First lap in the books done. And yeah, you can see it right there. Look at the time differential. 2 seconds slower. So he is really not throttling this down. And it's the same thing on the second lap here. So Clavitt, interesting call here. Maybe doesn't want to be in the middle if there's an early accident. Wants to start in the back. Maybe pick off some accidents. He'll come across the line for a second lap. Will not improve. So P9 and presumably going to be the driver that probably is in last position to start firing off, unless we obviously see an invalidation. Lily Frazier up next, 57 machine for the 5-hour energy machine. Frazier's been one of the drivers that's been a journey person throughout this season, as they have found different rides, jumped through different teams, different whatever has been called. Frazier obviously started the season one team, moved to another, just trying to find that ride, being a super sub. Frazier coming across on the backstretch now, already started their lap, going to finish the first lap here. They come off a 3 and 4 first lap in the books. Frazier will slot the machine right there on pole position, so the second lap only going to try to improve her time here. Good opening lap there. You can see actually set a purple sector 1, but not set a purple sector 2. Coming across the line now, can she make that gap even bigger? Well, she cannot. It was a 14.77 the second time, but still, great lap from the 57. That is the time this man will have to beat. First driver of the 8 in the playoffs, Josh Gaiman. Gaiman had a horrendous last round at Chicagoland, had incident crashed out. Right now at the moment, looking at the points, he is provisionally 19 points back. Not in a must-win, but considering a lot of his round of 8 rivals are going to be just as strong, he may just consider it a must-win. He was the fastest in practice, though. Gaiman has shown some good speed at Bristol. We'll see if that's indicative right there as he has to avoid mowing down that wall. First lap in the books, and you can see the effect of that little lift off to avoid plowing it. P9.17, way off the pace of pole position. We'll have to find good speed in the second one there, and again, it kicks out a bit. Does not look comfortable. That lap does improve the time a bit, but they say loose is fast, but that thing did not look like he was having fun. And he'll be provisionally right now P8. There's some more spots he could lose. Next up, Richard Odie in the 78 machine. Been a stalwart of attending races here. Obviously has had pretty good track record of attending. Okay finishes for the most part. Obviously, Odie using this as a learning tool, as he will now start his flying lap now. He'll have 2 attempts to try to beat the time that is set by Lily Frazier, which is a 14.64. Odie running that middle groove we've seen Frazier, Braille, Mongol, the top competitors run. Coming across the line, P11 for the 78 machine. Gonna have to kick it in the overdrive if he wants to find his way inside the top 10. Running middle groove here, gonna come off a 3 and 4. Can he improve? And he will. P8 for Odie. So second lap, your first lap is not good. Your second lap is where you'll find the speed. Common sense, but a lot of drivers have used that second lap you don't usually get in HTL competition to their advantage, and really shows the effects of a one-lap system where you really have to be on the money. Dustin Hall up next, one of the other of the round of 8 drivers here. Hall coming in with the biggest deficit to the points lead, 21 points adrift. And he was fast at Chicagoland, but connection issues plagued him out of stage 1, and he could not recover after going multiple laps down when he eventually rejoined. So Hall, another one of those drivers you could say is probably thinking must win here, as he will finish his first lap. It looks like the time did not update on the board here, so we'll see. It is pole position. Must have missed it while I was looking out. Good lap. Kind of hard sometimes to follow the Cyan. Second lap, a little kick out on the line. And Hall obviously will not improve on that second lap there with that little slide, but you don't have to do it when your first lap is that good. Dustin Hall, P1. Now Lily Frazier now bumped down to second. Byron Jones up next in the number 19 machine. He's made that ride his home here for these past couple weeks for NFG Motorsports. The team obviously had a rotating cast of characters early. Jones has now come in and has brought stability to this team, trying to finish up the season well here. Jones will start his flying lap. Jones has been a top 10 stalwart for most of these races he's been in, but the problem is obviously last week had a bit of a run-in with Sosi, and obviously that took him out of the race. So looking to finish these 225 laps to completion. Jones coming across the line for his first lap, and he'll be good enough only for P12, so not taking the strategy you saw with Hall, and look at that, though, almost hitting the wall there. I don't like the odds this second lap is going to be that competitive when you see a car dart from the wall to the bottom side there, and then it kicks out then. So Jones, second lap will not improve. He will stay P12 and will have to come from deep to try to get back in this field. Next up, Martin Roberg in the number 97 machine. He is now away as he will take his laps. Obviously, with a bit of a shorter field here tonight, qualifying will go by quite quickly, as not too many drivers have yet to take the field here, and we'll see how it all plays. But Roberg, the next one to join that illustrious group, has also made Ascent Racing home for the past couple weeks and has really showed some strive in that number 97 machine, looking to reward the team's patience with a victory as he came so close these past couple weeks with P3s, P2s, P5s. but yet still to find that elusive victory lane. First lap across the line, Roberg going to slot his machine, P7, splits Denny and Henderson. See now what the second lap can bring for the number 97 machine. Running that middle groove, gets a good exit, car looks planted, could be good. And he will not be good, it will be not an improvement, so he will stay P7. Next up, you can see next in line is Bobby Blowers, who will then be flanked by Pacey Wygant. Blowers ready to fire off here, and he will now do so. Away he will trot. Obviously, when we talk about super subs this season, you can't not bring up Bobby Blowers, as he's been the definitive super sub, but recent weeks he's found a home in that number 94 machine. It's definitely been a strong combination between that team and that driver. Right there, hits the wall a little bit. That is going to put this first lap in the books of a not complete. He'll have to use that second lap to be the money lap. Coming across the line, and that thing kicked out too, so even meanwhile, and actually first lap did count. I thought it hit the wall. Now it hit the wall though, and that will mean second lap is automatically validated. So heard some scratching, must have not been enough to invalidate Blowers' first lap counts. Second lap will now not, so Blowers can only strive for P5 in the number 94 machine. Next up, Pacey Wygant in the 00. Another playoff driver currently coming in tonight, the cut line. 3 points above the cut line, and currently another driver we'll see later on qualifying, Lilac here, as now Wygant looking to try to do something he was doing last season, fighting for a championship, obviously for the owners last season. This time around, trying to fight for both the drivers and the owners. Get a good run and a good qualifying spot. He'll be well on his way to try to punch his ticket, and if he can get there, definitely look at him as the odds-on favorite at Fontana next week. But first lap almost clips the wall. Looks like it did not count. Well, it did count the lap. It did not invalidate the lap is what I meant to say. P15, though, and you can see the speed loss there. Really going to have to use the second lap for his advantage here. Hugs the bottom, pinches out here. Will probably improve by how much? Well, he will prove by a lot. P2 for the 00 driver, Pacey Wygant. Puts himself on the front row, but misses out on that pole position by 0.04. Next up, Joshua Sosi. He won at Watkins Glen. With him starting tonight's race, he has officially locked himself in to the Final Four at Fontana next week, as you had to make both races to qualify for the Championship 4. And actually, all 3 races, I should say. And since he's done that, he is now fighting for a championship. So Sosi probably mind on Fontana next week, but would also like to get a win here at the very least to give himself some confidence going into next week. First lap in the books for the defending champion of HTL. P3 is the run. Trending in the right direction, but that's going to be a hit of the wall. That is not going to be any more time for Hello Kitty, and they will have to take it down the pit lane. P3, the fastest for that Lady Liberty machine. Lilac here up next. She currently is the first driver out of the Final Four, 3 points down to Pacey Wygant. Obviously, if Zier doesn't make it through, she's going to be kicking herself what happened at Watkins Glen, where she came close to winning, but just fell out just a tiny bit. But Zier specializes at these short tracks, these kind of shorter tracks. We saw her win at Darlington, obviously a little bit longer than this, but these tracks where you have to lift, brake, get the car in the right spots, play into this 50s machine. First lap in the books for Zier, and it looks like it's only good enough for P17, so she's really going to have to step it up on the second lap here. Second lap, we saw Wygant do it, we saw Hall do it, so it looks like this could be indicative. Zier coming across the line, jumps up only to P9, just behind Connor Morse. So not the lap she was hoping for with some of the main rivals in the top 3 spots, but no, only way is up. We'll see what she does during the race. Tommy Withers up next, the number 23 machine. I was in the Draft Kings machine here. Withers, obviously, last time we saw him, obviously, was last week where he got a good run after surviving the chaos. And obviously, when we saw him last at Bristol in the HTL Cup Series, had a good run. So Wygant could be a sneaky driver here, be competitive tonight. But look at this slow run he's doing. I don't think that lap, he's going for a lap here. He just wants to get out, get a stall, and move on. So, and he now just pose in. And he's actually complaining about a penalty here, possibly a black flag penalty. So we'll see what exactly happens here for Withers, whether that gets clear or not. We saw last week it was cleared for, I believe it was Wygant, one of the playoff drivers, of Swatsworth, I believe, that got it cleared. So we'll see what happens. But regardless, Gibney will be next car up here. He will now skip the pit lane, and I do wonder if maybe that quick blend we saw Withers do may have been his downfall there. So Gibney obviously stays low, doesn't want to risk doing something similar to what happened to Withers, and he will now start his flying lap in that number 1 machine. Gibney consistently strong these past few weeks here. Definitely an all-right driver, to say the least here. Running for pride and trying to find his way into victory lane number 1. Obviously 18th in the owner standings, so definitely driving well for Lady Liberty. Comes across the line. P18 will be his lap, so matching his owner's position standings. And trying to become the driver that's the best of the rest of the 16 that made the playoffs. Coming across the line for the second lap here. And that will put him up to P3 for Gibney. So putting him the highest non-playoff driver, it will bump his Lady Liberty teammate down to the outside of row number 2. Looks like no update on Withers. Looks like his lap will not end up counting, so it looks like his day may be done for quali. And Eli Sasic will be the next car on the track here, as he will now begin his lap. Obviously, Sasic was a round of 16 playoff driver, got bounced out. Now just trying to get a good run here to finish out the season. Obviously, Bristol, not a track in his wheelhouse, but it's Bristol, baby, and the magic can always come find you at the best of times. Sasic, first lap in the books. It'll be good enough for P19, right ahead behind Byron Jones here. But the second lap looks to be key for him. We saw it work for Gibney. We saw it work for Wygant. Can it also work for Eli Sasic? Cross the line. It'll be only good enough for P17, so 2 spots gained, but not really an improvement you'd see out of the 9 for Ascent Racing. So as we pivot on nicely, next car on the queue is going to be that 18 of Swatsworth. We're almost near the end of qualifying here. 18, 27, 20, and 3 are going to be the last 4 to hit the track here. Actually, 2 and then 3. But we go in reverse order from last week's finishing spots. So it does benefit the drivers that finish well, as they get the time to shine and really improve. So Swatsworth going to start his flying lap now for Arrowhead. Obviously a bit of a kick in the teeth. He got bounced in the round of 16 after he came within a whisker of winning the championship last season, but can't dwell on the past. It's going to just try to finish the season off strong and show off some potential for next year. First lap in the books, P8 for Swatsworth. And almost hits the wall there, coming off a 2. Cost him a little bit of time, so the second lap may not be the best, but we've seen drivers drive on the edge, coming across the line. And he will not improve, close to his time, but honestly, if he didn't have that slight mistake, could have made a better run there, but still, P8, nothing to sneeze at for the number 18 machine. Bailey Thompson, the 27, back in the Menards-inspired paint scheme with NOS Energy. Instead of the blue NOS, we see now the purplish-pink NOS Energy 27 machine. Maybe also as well driving this so I don't accidentally call in a mobile gotcha game with Hatsumiku on the front. So 27 of Bailey Thompson now starting their flying lap. Down the backstretch, pinching it through 3 and 4 here, running that low line. We'll see how it bears fruit for her as they come across the line. And it'll be good enough for P4, so Bailey with a blistering run there, but it's going to have to find this time in the second lap if they want to bump Hall off original foal. Coming off the last corner here, where can Bailey slot it? And will not improve. Still a good second lap, but it will not be enough. P4 is the highest Thompson can look to strive. 3 cars left to go. Hunter Peach, one of those round of 8 drivers up next. Peach 15 above the cut line, so he has a cushion. If he can stage manage well and put down some good results, he could be a driver that could possibly even point his way in if he really gets some good stage points in these first 2 stages. And also catastrophe for the drivers behind him. Peach looking a little bit, kind of get a feel for the car here, so I think this first lap may not be the most quick, and I can see him kind of backing it down just a tiny bit, so I think he's setting up here. Coming across the line. And that will only be good enough for P22, so he's using this second lap as his money lap here. Pinching low, what we saw with Bailey. Out of 3 and 4, where will the 20 slot? Only good enough for 20th, so Peach gonna have to dig himself out of a hole here as he'll be towards the back. Next up, Josh Arnold. Obviously, last week we said he was in a must-win situation, and he came within a whisker of pulling off victory lane. And now coming in tonight, he's 18 points out, so is not per se a must-win, but depending on the stage's fall, it could become a must-win. And Arnold came within a shout of making the Final Four last year, but divine intervention, among other things, ended up not making it to be, and Arnold looking to try to finally punch his ticket into a Final Four. Coming across the line now to finish his first lap. Where will that 2 slot? And it will be good for P3. So first lap trends in the right direction, but he hits the wall just a tiny bit, keeping his foot in it, though, to see if he can maybe make this lap count. See as he comes across the line, almost hits it again. Does he improve? He does not count the lap, so lap will not count. So P3 will be high enough for Arnold, and the very least, guaranteed a front row, second row spot here in the top 5. One driver left to go here. It's the 3 of Caitlin Height. One Chicagoland took a penultimate lap pass on Josh Arnold to win Chicagoland. And also starting tonight, will punch her ticket to the Final Four, so she'll be fighting teammate Joshua Sosi next week at Fontana for championship. 2 drivers know their destinies. 2 more will join, but Caitlin has never met a race she does not want to win. So coming across the line to finish her first lap, and it'll be good enough for P4. So bump teammate Gibney down to the 3rd row here, but can Height at the death with it steal pole position away from Dustin Hall. Coming off the 3 and 4, where will that 3 slot? And she will not improve. She'll run a dead even lap to her first one, and that will be not good enough. She will stay P4, and that means Dustin Hall, a driver you could say is maybe in a must-win, he will take pole position with Pacey Wygant flanking him from the front row. And that is how qualifying is going to finish up here as we now move on to warm-up, and we say hello to Carmen Sienna.
A fantastic qualifying effort for Dustin Hall in a lap in a race that he needed it most going into this elimination race for the round of 8. 21 races complete. This is race 22 of 23 in the season. Dustin Hall will start us from the front of the field here in Bristol Motor Speedway. Thunder Valley set to come alive with 27 stock car machines qualifying in the books. Josh Soucy, Caitlin Height, they already were locked in from their wins earlier in the round. Them starting the night, they're good to go for Fontana next week. Hunter Peach in the catbird seat, able to control his own destiny with that 15-point advantage above the cut line. It is close though. The cut line is Pacey Wygant, Lilac Sear, separated by 3 points. That's the difference between being in the championship 4 and being out of it. Very easy to make up spots there and make up points with the 2 stages here on lap 50 and 125 coming up later tonight. Josh Gaiman, though, a little bit further back, needs to make a little bit more work happen. Josh Arnold and Dustin Hall, they need fantastic results to try to get things to swing back in their favor. A race win washes all of that away. That's where it's very important for the likes of Dustin Hall and Josh Arnold, who will start this race near the very front of the field. Dustin Hall on pole position for tonight's race. It is going to be an electric race here at Bristol Motor Speedway. It typically is as we get ready to race under the lights here in Thunder Valley. Located just on the Tennessee side of the Tennessee-Virginia border, this half-mile racetrack has seen a lot of changes over the years. We've thrown dirt on it. We've revamped the banking. We've changed the type of concrete on the surface. We've changed the seating. We've adjusted so many things throughout the years. It's always been a gritty racetrack to be at. 225 laps here around Bristol Motor Speedway is what the drivers look forward to here tonight. And it's going to be a test of patience, of fortitude, of endurance. Not physically, for the cars. You don't typically get away with Bristol without having some sort of damage, some sort of wrinkles, some sort of war scars on these race cars. Those that can persevere strong enough typically are the ones that survive the best here in Tennessee. The penultimate race of the season, traditionally it has always been the cutoff race before Fontana, before the final race of the season. It's been that way the entire time AVN's been broadcasting here at Bristol in HTL. This is no different. The stakes are increasingly high. Unless you're Josh Susie and Caitlin Height, who have punched their tickets in already, your objective is win or play spoiler to get into the championship 4. You cannot rest on your laurels. This track will bite you for it. And you're going to see that throughout tonight. Stage 1, 50 laps. Not going to be a super long opening stage. This could be where a lot of the chaos kicks in, is stage 1, with it being so short. Typically, you see the first couple stages, they're drawn out enough just to get a pit stop in. That's not the case tonight. Bristol is going to be 100%, almost treating like stage 1, the stage break, as a competition caution with how short it is. And it leaves us 2 equal length stages for stage 2 and stage 3. Stage 2 ends on lap 125. Obviously, stage 3 will get us from 125 to 225 at the end of the race there. Doing a fantastic job here looking on board. This is with, I believe, this is James Wright, the 55. There we go. He's sitting in this group of cars, and that's one of the problems you're going to see tonight. Cars drifting up the racetrack. That's Kevin Gibney Jr., who's, unfortunately, the AV Analytics predictions expect to be one of the first retirements in this race tonight. Did not get a lot of practice time in here tonight for Bristol, so that one car going to be behind the 8 ball as Jimmy Braille, champion in the ARC side of things, comes to a sliding stop there near pit exit. That's Swatsworth and Alfred Denny. Very interesting. Chad Swatsworth, this is his last season in HTL Cup competition, having missed on the championship 4, eliminated in the round of 16. Decided that this is it. This is where he can kind of put the hammer down a little bit. That 18 car with Chad Swatsworth finally will run its last race in Fontana in 7 days' time. Alfred Denny in that 29 car. No idea what his future looks like. Trying to put in his best season results to date so far for that 29 crew. And as warm-up comes to an absolute close, we'll go over the starting grid here. There's the full points going in, though. You see the top 8 as they are. Josh Susie, Caitlin Height, marked in yellow. They are locked in. They move on to the championship 4. It's everyone from Hunter Peach to Dustin Hall that is in the conversation. And as we mentioned, the gap between being in and out right now is 3 points between Wygen and Zier. That is very crucial going into this race. That'll adjust all night long. Josh Gaiman sitting 19 points adrift. Josh Arnold 20 points out. Dustin Hall 21 points out. They have work to do. Josh Gaiman more than the others if he wants to try to win this race, especially with Josh Arnold starting near the front of the field and Dustin Hall starting on pole position. And then you see the best of the rest, those that were in the round of 16 but got eliminated. Eli Sasek, Zach Meredith, Chad Swatsworth, Dean Clavitt. That was your top 12 looking on your screen. Front of the field, going into this race, it is going to be a pretty stacked field of cars. Dustin Hall and Pacey Wygen sit on the front row, pair of chase drivers. Wygen on the right side of the cut line, Hall on the outside of it. Josh Arnold on the inside of Caitlin Height. Caitlin Height safe. Josh Arnold needs a race win. Kevin Gibney Jr., row 3 alongside Bailey Thompson. Their teammates there for Lady Liberty Motorsports. You got Josh Susie and Lily Frazier in row 4. Jimmy Braille and Austin Mongold route out your top 10 in row 5. Mongold qualifying 10th here ahead of Chad Swatsworth and Bobby Blowers, who sit in row number 6. That's 11th and 12th on the grid. Connor Morris and Lilac Zier sit in row number 7 of this almost 30-car field. That is 13th and 14th on the grid. Alfred Denny and Martin Roberg have work to do on the other side of the half of the field here. Beginning the second half of the field is Alfred Denny and Martin Roberg. Blake Henderson, his first race back in several weeks after dealing with Hurricane Helene and the issues that came from that, starting in row 9 alongside teammate Zach Apperson. Row 10, looking at the top 20, it's Richard Odie and Josh Gaiman, one of the lowest placed playoff drivers in the field. Just had Hunter Peach, who desperately needs to have a better race than he had qualifying, starting in 22nd on the outside of Eli Sasek in row 11 in this field. Looking through row 12, Elias Flores and Byron Jones. That is your row 12, 23rd, and 24th on the grid. James Wright and Dean Clavitt coaching those rear lane starting positions. Row 13 for them. 27 cars. Tommy Withers, the last car running. did not set a valid lap time after getting a penalty for an early merge out of pit lane. He will start 27th and the last. 3 stages, as we mentioned earlier, lap 50 and lap 125. 6 sets of tires available. We're not expecting pit stops in the first stage at all unless you get damage. And we're expecting that stage 1 could be the wild stage with how short it is here tonight. We appreciate everyone spending your time with us here on a Monday evening on ABN Esports 1. This is coverage of the HTL Cup Series all the way from Daytona to Fontana next week. The finale just 7 days away. We're going to determine the 4 drivers fighting for a championship at the end of this race tonight. I'm Carmen Sienna, alongside me Kevin Young, and behind the production cameras, Kristina Ryan. Must win for Dustin Hall, and he's put himself in the best spot to do just that. Front of the field, pole position for car 12. Pacey Wygen alongside Arnold, Caitlin Height, row 2. The pace car rolls in, and it's time to get to business. Racing at Bristol's underway. Thunder Valley is alive with the sound of 27 race cars. Everyone will sort themselves out through the first couple laps here in Bristol Motor Speedway. Dustin Hall, an electric start. Caitlin Height also following through, despite being on the outside of row number 2. Found a way around Arnold and Wygen to get that second spot here. So Caitlin Height looking strong on the onset immediately. But Dustin Hall has a pretty decent range right now, side by side. It's Bailey Thompson in that 27. Tags the wall, trying to get around the 2 of Josh Arnold. Run out of space quickly here in these Gen 7 cars. Very bulky machines as we're riding on board here with Josh Arnold. Gets right there to the quarter panel. Almost gave a little bump to Bailey Thompson to turn the 27 car up the track a little bit. The bump and run. We've seen it so many times at Bristol Motor Speedway. We've seen it be disastrous many times here in Thunder Valley. Josh Arnold taking it easy here. Not the end of the world right now, but he knows that time will be of the essence here with Dustin Hall leading this race and walking away at the start of this race. As you're on board here with the 2 car going into this race, and you see further back in the field, very clean start, Kevin. This was expected to be a little bit more frantic. In some ways it has been. It was frantic with 3 red starts on the initial start, but now everyone's settling in. We weren't quite expecting that, especially the further back we went down the field.
Yeah, I think it comes to a point where these drivers have obviously evolved throughout the series they've raced in so far, and they've found kind of the charm of driving around here. And we've had some questions on the short tracks throughout this year, but I think these drivers are taking this an opportunity to take this challenge and really learn with it. It also does help as well with a few less cars here. It does give drivers a little bit more breathing room to try to make something happen. But right now, Hall spank in the field right now, 1 clear. But you got to be careful as well with tire wear. You don't want to end up burning these tires up too much, well, unless we have running the tire package we saw for the last Bristol race in real life, and the tires did not burn at all. We're going to cut a little bit further back here right now, riding aboard with Lily Frazier, sitting in P7. Lilac Zero, though, you got to give a hat tip to her. She is on the horns right now. She's going to slide around Bailey and put herself in the top 5. Zero obviously with a poor qualifying spot, knowing she's only 3 points down to Wygen. She's one of those drivers that can pretty much try to mathematically get her way into the points if a new driver doesn't win. And also with Hunter Peach still buried in traffic, only in P18, this is a prime opportunity for her to jump up and get around Wygen. Also puts maybe some points on Hunter Peach. And as Kristina helpfully circled, she's already up 10 spots where she qualified. She is taking no prisoners. She's going to get that step-so machine up towards the front here and try to set her own destiny here so she can be fighting for a championship next week at Fontana. Right now in the battle with her main rival, Pacey Wygen, is there side by side, but Zier gonna rip and ride it. But as well, I do worry tires could play a bit of a factor. She better not burn up the stuff too quickly, or she could be in for a world of hurt.
Well, you think about this race going into this, say stage 1's only 50 laps. The tires, they will wear a little bit, but they're not going to wear as much as we would typically expect to see, because these are lighter cars. They do not have as much fuel in the tanks here. Typically, these cars have about 20 gallons in those fuel cells. Here it's 12 gallons. That's a lot of weight. That's about 45 pounds of extra weight that is not in this car, which helps in short stages like this right now. So Lilacs, you're already up 11 spots. Next closest is right now Byron Jones from 24th to 14th, riding right now with Alfred Denny, who's currently dropped back several spots, dropped back 6 spots from 15th to 21st. Inside lane, not kind the further back you go in the field. Those that have made the most positions, they ran in the outside lane on that initial start. Sear started 14th, Byron Jones 24th. Everyone making some inroads, though, if you were on that outside lane on the start, because that's where the track is best right now. That'll change as this race goes on. But right now in stage 1, it's working out pretty well as we ride on board here. Believe this is with the 94 Bobby Flowers. I believe we're riding on board there with Alfred Denny for a moment. Now looking at the 94, under threat from the 78 of Richard Odie, who's on that outside lane and will clear pretty easily. And whoa, trouble! Car hits the inside wall. We stay green.
James Wright was who hit the wall there, it looks like. Wright, obviously, right now heavily wounded. You can see right now losing space here. And overall, obviously going to make us take a look at the replay here. And there you can see him go way low and hits it mildly, though. Obviously, these cars can take a bit of a beating. And it looks like he'll be relatively okay to continue on. But that time loss is not going to be good as we see the replay here again. There's a little contact Flores gave right on the bump of the 55. And yeah, that's all on Flores there. Just giving a little shunt. Got the 55 loose and hitting the inside wall. But with Hall kind of getting closer to the right, and the stage almost half over, Wright could be in trouble going to be the first car down. Here's Lilacs here, riding on board with her. Currently sitting in P3, has put a healthy distance on Pacey Wygen. You can see that's the intangible gap she wants to get to P2, maybe even P1, when this next 25 laps of this stint. Knowing she sees the 3 up there and getting an extra point. Because right now, looking kind of the math here, as we'll try to give you updated math throughout the night. Right now, Zier would only be 2 points back, but if she can get the height and pass her, that will put the gap to 1 between Wygen and Zier at the end of stage number 1. But right now, it's still the Dustin Hall show up front, as he is still putting down good laps. But indicative to note, and we'll check the times here as he goes around here again to finish up another lap here. He's running about dead even with height, but Pacey Wygen was the fastest last time by. This time by, height was the fastest. Not by much. So drivers, these top 4 are running about similar speeds here, and that can make it hard to make inroads. And you can see the lunge Wygen got with that little extra speed. This is going to try to rip it around the high side of Zier. Looks like that move's going to stick, so put Wygen back to 3rd. Height now going to fall back down to 4th.
Yeah, Zier dropped down to 4th there after having to use a lot of tires to get up into the top 5 there. You see a little further back, this is Mongold and Henderson. Mongold in the 91, Henderson in the 25. As this racing is for the 15th position at the moment, and Henderson's got it. His first race back, trying to move up through the field, sort of 17th. It's been a slow start, but he's on the right way forward. Here is Mongold, takes a peek to the inside once again. The outside lane seems to just be better for making passes happen in the long run. A camera shot here from Mongold looking over at that number 25 car. That purple and black machine. Rolling around, and Mongold just not wanting to give up that 15th spot for all it's worth right now. Started top 10, has already lost 6 spots. One of those that have a parachute attached to the back of those cars at the moment. Byron Jones, one of the biggest gainers so far, from 24th to 10th. He's gotten into the top 10 now, ahead of Hunter Peach, who is also a big gainer from 22nd to 11th. This is going to be interesting because they're both trying to get around Josh Susie, who doesn't have a lot to race for right now. He's already in the playoffs, and there's no bonus points for the Championship 4. There's no extra points for winning races here. So Josh Susie started us here to check off the qualification box to get into that round of the Championship 4 next week. Right on board right now with Byron Jones as Susie gets checked up by Thompson. And Susie going to try to find a way around and gain a position here. This is for the 8th spot, realistically. And there's 4 cars in this fight right now. Susie on the bottom, Thompson up on the outside lane. And it gives nowhere for Byron Jones to get riding on board with him. And you just see there's not a huge lane. You'd imagine that there might be a middle lane. There could be a middle lane. There really isn't. It doesn't work that way here at Bristol Motor Speedway. 3 wides don't work unless you're trying to wreck somebody. Byron Jones will go to the inside lane and try to race around the 27 as well. And now stall out. And here comes Hunter Beach to take 10th place away as well. Byron Jones not a playoff contender. Hunter Beach very much is. Keeps the door open on Bailey Thompson. Outside lane working out really well for him. Riff riding around the outer groove here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Josh Susie thought about it, decided to drive to the inside of Willie Frazier. You see this fight here. Lilac Sears lost touch with Pacey Wygen. And it's checking everyone up here. There's Connor Morris. There's 57 of Frazier. There's the 2 of Josh Arnold. There's the 50 of Zier. There's the 81 of Susie. Everyone trying to make some inroads here. Connor Morris and Josh Susie on the inside lane, trying to take advantage of the clean real estate there at the bottom lane. It's not quite working. Susie peeks to the inside. Thought about making it 3 wide on Connor Morris. Got better of it. Coming to 11 laps to go in the stage. Everyone so far minding their P's and Q's.
This is where it gets interesting because I was talking about Hunter Beach. We had a bit of a push coming in, obviously 15 points above the cut line, but that can easily get evaporated if you're not careful. Because again, we'll be talking about math all night, but let's use Wygen and Zier as an example. As right now, Wygen and Zier are currently going to get 8 and 7 respectively where they're holding. And that can easily take 15 and split it. You're looking at that 7 and 8 respectively as well, as we're still seeing some kind of chaos happening here throughout the field. Right now, Hall hitting some race traffic here, trying to make a move around Dean Clavitt. And now this is another problem as well. Cars are going to fight and try to stay in the lead lap here, as obviously there's a wave around possibly looming, but you're at the same point where you don't want to come make a fresh pit stop on the green. You have to take the wave around. You can be in a bad spot, fuel and all that, so you want to fight like it matter. And this is allowed height a chance to slowly ruin Dustin Hall here. It's now under a second as that 12 is getting stuck in traffic. Now trying to work his way around Richard Odie, and height will make the gap. Now 2 cars, but we will have to hold that thought. Caution is out. Trying to see who it was, and I think it was the 74 of Connor Morris.
That was where that fight in the top 10 was. Morris spun wrong way around.
He's not happy.
A lot of damage. There's a lot of damage all over that car. A lot of damage on the front of that car as well. This is with Zier.
Morris thinks this may have been Zier's fault here on the radio from the comms. They're slowing it down.
I find it hard for it to be on Zier's fault here unless Zier got bounced off the wall. Oh, yeah. Gets a little bit loose. It actually gets a little bit tightened and has to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And if trying to avoid the wall, the car just moves down. So that, and there's Byron Jones. That's where the front damage comes from. So yeah, I can see where Morse would be unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
Zier just trying to avoid tagging the wall there, and round goes 74.
I also think it helps as well. It may have been a late call on a caution, so there's really nothing Jones could have done either. So Morris was spun and just had to hope no one hit him. And we're now seeing Jones as well. She knows, well, that's not the end of the stage. So we'll continue on here. There's the contact, there's the shunt, and yeah, Jones can't go anywhere. Once he ran into the back of Bailey, he was kind of on a crash course and just had to hope he could skate by the 74. Well, that hole closed. Bristol's already big enough only for 2 cars. Usually can't make it 3. So back to live action here. And this is where it gets interesting. Some cars came in to top off or get maybe ahead on stage 2. Apperson, Braille, Odie, Jones, Wright, Withers, obviously somewhere involved in the incident. But most of the field electing to stay out here for the mad dash.
This is interesting. That was very interesting. Sorry to cut you off there. Connor Morris was trying to get a little bit of payback there on Zier. Lily Frazier, teammates there with Zier, blocked the 74 from having a chance at the 50. So very interesting there. So Connor Morris now falling backwards in the order. You're going to see, I think this is a replay of it, Morris trying to charge his way forward there. Wanted to go after Zier, and you see Frazier acting as rear gunner. Keeps 74 away from that 50 car, because 50, remember, is in the playoffs right now, trying to get into that championship 4.
And I know
Frazier doing the rear gunner work and just making sure that 50 car does not get damaged and put behind the 8 ball here at Bristol, because that's kind of important at this point. So a lot of teamwork there, just keeping emotions at bay at the moment as Morris drops back, now a lap down. Bobby Blowers and Dean Clavitt on the lead lap. I believe Clavitt ended up with the free pass.
Yes.
So that gives us 3 cars a lap down with Sasek, Morris, and Jones. Sasek not involved in that incident. He was just the first car that went a lap down. and then Morris and Jones, they both got wounded, had to take repair work done, and so now they are a lap down racing with Sasek to get that free pass at the end of the stage, which is still at lap 50.
Yeah, and this is where it gets interesting. It's going to be a one-lap shootout, but I just want to touch on the Morris situation real fast. Morris, obviously, got to be careful because, obviously, you got your tempers flaring. He's a young kid. Don't want to make your life miserable in HTL, especially coming next season, because one day he could be fighting for a championship, and drivers have long memories. And at the same point, if, especially being spitting out a playoff driver and giving playoff damage, it just goes from bad to worse. And it's just not a good look. So luckily, Morris kind of got saved from his own aggression there. So with a one-lap dash for the cash here for the points, Hall Height row 1, Sosi Wygent row 2, Zier Frazier row 3, Arnold Peach row 4, Thompson Roberg row 5. And you know some of these drivers are going to be aggressive, including that one of the 12 machine of Dustin Hall, because 10 UC stage points could definitely help him out in his cause. Pace car going to pull on off here. Green flag is out, and it will go by in a flash. Away we fly. One lap for the stage. You can see right now Sosi and Height going to battle for second. Sosi going to rip around that high side. Can he make a run here on Hall? Looks like he cannot, but Wygent going to try to steal an extra point. And as they come off a 4, looks like Wygent will do so, but Hall will take victory in stage number 1, so we'll hold on to what he gained. Sosi will get second, Wygent will get third, Height, the big loser, will fall to 4th, Zier 5th, Frazier 6th, Peach 7th, Roberg 8th, Arnold 9th, and Thompson your top 10. So overall, Hall with the big point swing, Wygent helping himself out as well.
And interestingly, in that restart and everything, Connor Morris ended up getting the free pass position, the first car a lap down.
So he'll now be back on the lead lap. So it just shows, hey, you got to keep your head sometimes. It can work out quite nicely. Only driver not in the current range, not get any stage points there was Josh Gaiman. He was unlucky, and he will not get any points for his troubles, finishing P12. So Gaiman going to put himself in a bigger hole here as now pit stops have officially opened. And obviously, probably drivers taking 4 times in fuel, but you'll see some drivers that topped off under the first caution maybe like to stay out here.
Yeah, track position is kind of crucial here at Bristol Motor Speedway. And you're going to see that a lot with some drivers that decided to come in under that caution. Those that were already outside the top 10 point, going into that last restart, as 74 gets that free pass. Dustin Hall stays the first driver of those that came down pit lane. But you see Tommy Withers is up there, Zach Apperson, Austin Mongol, Jeremy Braille, Dean Clavitt. They all came down pit lane under that caution. So all of that's very important. Connor Morris now on the lead lap. One car out of this race, that is Byron Jones. The 1919 car is officially out of this race, so we're down to 26 on the racetrack here at Bristol after our first incident caution that came on lap 43.
And the unlucky thing is Eli Sasek's going to be the only car pinned 1 down here as well.
That 9 car just does not have a lot of pace right now. It's really concerning for Sasek, someone who typically is not terrible at this racetrack, to just be so far off the pace right now.
Yeah, and that is obviously going to be a hole here. I'm looking to see if there's any damage on that car, and it looks pretty pristine. So, yeah, just odd thing around. Obviously, ovals aren't 100% his favorite, but he'll have to kind of live and learn here. Luckily, it would feel a lot worse if he was in the round of 8, but overall, though, just trying to figure out what's happening. Probably going to want a quick caution here to get back on lane lap. See some other drivers, Bobby Blowers. There's Tommy Withers, currently sitting in a spot, trying to find him quickly.
He's
on
top of the board.
Scoreboard. Top of the board because he did stay out. Thank you for the correction there. So Withers, Apperson, Mongol, Braille, Clavitt, all of them have in common. They all came in under that caution and will stay out here for the track position, which means even though it's not that much of a difference, it's going to benefit these drivers per se to try to hang on. And this allows, if there's speed in wide Withers, Apperson, Mongol, Braille, Clavitt, they have that speed. And I'll get that track position to really try to show it off here and try to make something happen, because overall it's a very minuscule difference between the tires and the fuel. So overall it should play out. There's Hunter Peach. He came in and topped off again. They'll be firing off P23, but considering how quickly he moved up through the field, I don't doubt he'll be able to do it again.
Gonna be an interesting restart here. A lot of cars that were in the back of the field now sitting at the front, and a lot of the chase, the playoff drivers that were trying to make inroads here will have work to do. Dustin Hall, arguably in the right lane. He's on the outside lane here for this. In that 6th spot. Gonna be a tight conversation though. As the lights go out on the pace car, we're coming to the green flag, this time by After a wild opening stage, Dustin Hall helping his chances out dramatically. It's Withers and Apperson front of the field. Green flag flies and away we go. Withers with a good launch. Apperson wheel spun, but Brayall bailed him out. And Dustin Hall wastes no time trying to get around. Trying to use some fresher tires here. They've got a 6-lap advantage now. Hall just trying to make his way back to the front as soon as possible here. Try to get away from some of these cars that are set to look like anchors. The later this stage rolls along. Withers, Mongold, Apperson, top 3, riding on board with Dustin Hall. That 12 machine. Battling with Brayall and ahead of Slavin and Wygent here as Apperson gets checked up.
Oh, spinning the back. Henderson just got hooked, and that's going to be the caution. Wright got into Henderson on a checkup, and that's going to send Henderson around. So back in the car, Henderson is this week. Luckily, minuscule damage for the 25, but it is still going to bring out the caution. Our second caution, third, if you count the stage, and looking at the replay, gets loose and gets hooked.
Yeah.
Oh, and add insult to injury, Sasek just got an X for that, and he will not get the lucky dog because of this. So one more look here as well, and you see right there.
This is from Sasek.
Yeah, 3 wide. You can see we're running board Sasek. Right gets loose, right in, and yep, nowhere for Sasek to go.
Yeah, that's what the contact was.
And that will mean no lap back for the number 9 machine. And we always say it on broadcast, Carmen. See, good avoidance there by Blowers to avoid plowing into Henderson. We always say it. You sometimes want the caution. You don't want to be the caution or in the caution. And Sasek ended up finding that out the hard way here.
Yeah, fortunately for Sasek, he's still stuck in 26th. That's a result of that. Don't expect a lot of takers here on pit lane this go around. There's not really much of a point to because everyone's expecting a pit stop to exist in stage 2. So that's where we're at right now. As you see, there's Byron Jones, and that was
contact with Thompson. We saw Robert talk about that may have been the thing that finished off Jones here in the chat. So we'll take a look here. Ooh, interesting. Looks like Jones got a little loose. First thought it was going to be Thompson coming up, but Jones went low. And... odd. That's all I'll say.
Would have to look at the onboard of this. Oh, he's got a lot of steering damage too. He's got a lot of steering. Oh, this is a lot of bad steering damage.
Odd.
Oh, yeah? Yeah?
And that shows you, obviously, you don't get fast car in the series, so Jones would have to drive with that, but obviously at that point realized it may have not been worth continuing with that car not being able to drive. We'll look a little bit up the field here.
Oh, this is going to be the source of where Jones got his damage to begin with. Oh. Not sure how that's Bailey's. Not sure. That's really awkward. All of that is just really awkward here. Not sure why Thompson would be involved in that.
Contact with Morrison Jones. Obviously, it's something we're racing. You get that spot where in the moment you think it's someone else's fault or it's your fault or something on that point. You kind of get the blinders on. So Jones would maybe look back on that and see what happened, whether his fault or not, what side he takes. I'm not trying to say he did anything right or wrong, just noting that sometimes the replay can help calm drivers off in the moment of the incident. So it looks like we've got the 1 to go this time by Withers. Mongold will be the front row again, Apperson, Hall. And knowing Hall, he's made some good distance on the drivers on his same stint. And I was going to say this before the caution came out. He's a driver that struggled a little bit in traffic before the first caution came out before the end of the stage. So he wants that clean real estate and wants it quick to open up a gap to give himself a cushion. So his pace car is going to get on ready here and take the lonesome trip down pit lane. It's going to be on Withers' control. Green flag is out, and away we go here. 65 laps done here at Bristol. Look at that. Mog going to skate on by Withers. Hall going to try to follow suit here on that high side. Mog will take the lead. Now Hall going to try to battle for second here. Other cars getting the fan out here. Looks like that is one car going pretty low there. think that is Braille and Clavitt fighting there. Now then, look at the 4 of Apperson. He wants this spot too. He wants third, but look at that. Aggression by the 12, going to go low side on the 91 of Mongold, set the fastest sector 2 of the race, and he is now clear of the 91. And the quote Mongold, it was fun while it lasted.
Remember, Austin Mongold's not bad at this racetrack. He's a winner in the HTL National Series in the Gen 6 cars here at Bristol Motor Speedway. He has wins here at Bristol, so he's not bad at this racetrack. This is a track that's right in his wheelhouse, as you see Withers is trying to hold on to the top 3 at the moment. Clavitt, Braille, they haven't had a chance to really fall backwards yet because we've had these caution laps that have iced the tires a little bit. Everyone's sort of dealing with the same tire temperature issues, getting everything back up to speed, and you're seeing that now. Everyone has pretty level playing field despite the difference in strategy calls that ended stage 1. Trouble, that was Roberg that tagged the wall on the exit.
And that will be the
turns
caution.
1 and 2, and that's
Josh Arnold involved. Oh, and that looks like the toe link may be broken.
Oh, 100% is broken. I saw Roberg, the 97. I saw him tag the inside wall at the very end, and this is what I saw. And he's trying everything, and Arnold shoots the gap to the inside, thinking that Roberg is gonna go back up top. And that's a very violent secondary impact too.
Yeah.
This is Roberg and the 27, and this is just Roberg getting loose. Nothing there for Thompson. And Arnold shoots the gap, trying. He thinks that the 97 is just going to drift to the middle.
I don't blame Roberg, trying to cut you off. I don't blame Roberg for going low, because the common sense thing is to get off the racing line so you don't maybe someone else piles into you. But the problem is Arnold thought he was going to stay middle, and that caused the incident. So we're riding up board here with Gibney. Oh, go ahead.
So the issue with Roberg is that he never ends up going middle. He stays on the bottom of the racetrack. It just, you're trying to predict where that car is going to go. And you're right on board with Gibney, who is one of the cars involved in that. This is going to be interesting from Roberg. This is from Arnold's perspective. He's got a split-second decision. He's either going to go low or go high. He sees Roberg tag the wall. He thinks he's going to go high, and Roberg's like, okay, I'm on the bottom of the racetrack. I'm going to try to get back. I'm going to get on the apron. And it's split-second decisions that just you don't get a chance to really react other than making one sudden move, one sudden swing. This is Richard Odie, who's going to watch all of it. I don't think he gets much of this. You see, yeah, he checks it up pretty well here. So he'll avoid getting any of the impact of this.
Yeah.
I would like...
iRacing
I would love to hear... I would love to see with Josh Arnold one more time to see if he just full throttles it.
Like, that's something where you get clipping. Yeah, it's clipping like Gmod or something like that around those lines where you just get those weird physics, or the swing set in GTA 4 where just speed went extreme. So we're riding aboard, keep an eye on the throttles and the RPM.
It goes from 72 to 90 miles an hour. Looking at the telemetry, yeah. that is full on, like that is NR 2003 physics at its finest. Where like you hook somebody, and it just you grab like a speed boost up the racetrack as you go towards the wall. That reminds me, it looks like gained 18 miles an hour on the way to the wall, and it was immediate DNF for Josh Arnold, which makes our second official DNF in this race.
And that.
And Gibney's upset, and I understand why he's upset, but there's nothing that Roberg can do in that situation. He's already trying to get off the racetrack because hitting the pit wall, especially at that angle, it's going to shoot you back on the racetrack no matter what. This, as a racing driver, that is one of the most helpless feelings in the world, when you ricochet and you know you're going to the racing line and you just can't get it down in time. As we get ready to go back racing there, very wild incident there, which cuts the stage almost in half. It'll be Dustin Hall and Austin Mongold front of the field. We're now down 2 cars, down 25 at least in this field. Green flag flies and away we go, and Mongold got a really bad restart wheel spun, and it gives Apperson second place.
Yep.
With his Braille Clavitt staying stationary. And Hall now in the gap receive his own destiny because all of his main adversaries behind that cloud, that cosmic cloud of stragglers on the different strategy call. Riding on board here with Caitlin Height. Number 3 machine, that NordVPN car, trying to find a way to get more than 10th spot. Riding right now is still with Caitlin Height, giving around Zier. That is the 90 of Dean Clavitt. And you see this Hunter Peach on the roll as well. Height held up the minimum of Peach just for second. Now we're looking at this is on board with Flowers, I believe. This is a little bit further down the order. He's dealing with Odie. There is, I believe, that Swafford there as well. In 17th place.
And Zier really has to be on the aggression here because looking right now, Wige already up to 5th, moving the fastest of the second drivers that came in that pit on the fresher tires, and he's carving his way up the field along with Sosi. And that hurts Hall because Hall's main, the last driver currently in on points is Wygant, and the longer that kind of gap grows, it's going to make it even harder to point in, and in turn may even put Zier in a spot where she could have pointed her way in, but now she's kind of becomes a must-win if she can't even get any stage points here, and the gap continues to grow here. Right now, still trying to work around Height here in 10th, but obviously you don't want to start wrecking drivers and making enemies here to try to get 1 or 2 extra stage points, so it's kind of a play how hard you want to play spot here. And with 2 cars kind of fighting side by side, Peach and Height, now Peach going to get a good ride on that high side and make it a 2-for-1 special. But yeah, it's question is here. She's got to be in the aggression, I feel, but how much is too much?
I think the objective is just kind of get through
Yellow
the
flag
second
is
stage
out,
here. Caution
and it's
is
the
out.
78, no, 27 of Bailey Thompson.
Looks like the 78 might have had a piece of it. He's got some damage as well. 4th caution of the night. And we'll get a replay here momentarily. Here we go. Gonna give us a good look here. Thompson, same thing that Roberg did, just didn't tag the wall.
Oh, it actually was further
There's
back
a huge issue.
into the 27, but then
Holy cow, that is worse than the 27. We'll have to take another look at this because we're looking at the 27. We saw the 27 was involved in it. Hyperfixated on that. There is a lot more going on. This is Morse. Is that Gaiman? Gaiman could be a part of this. This is going to be very interesting here. This is... Oh, Flores bobbles it and checks up Flowers. And then...
So this is going to... Thompson's going to get loose here off this corner here.
Oh, this is on Flores, too, checking up Flowers.
Oh, no, Swatsworth got in the corner of Gaiman, and that sent Gaiman the outside wall. Denny nowhere to go. Morris just goes full throttle trying to skim the gap there, not seeing the yellow and pink Menard scheme there, and plows in.
I kind of understand where Morris is at because the caution's not out, so he's gunning for those positions. But also that's a never winning situation there. You're shooting a kid running over here with Connor Morris, good old visor cam on that 74 car who's already been in trouble once today. And you're gonna see everything going on here.
It's gonna happen here on this backstretch here, so you can see right there, side by side, Flowers is.
He had a run in with Frazier and Zier, the 50 and the 57. This is where it goes again.
You gotta lift there. I know you want the spots, but the track's almost blocked there. Like, I know it's different inside the cockpit, but I'm looking at that spot where I'm seeing Denny spinning, and you got an incident ahead of you. You saw the wreck. You see the 27 to get that little looseness, too.
In fairness, Thompson shouldn't be drifting up the racetrack and trying to merge on in the middle of the corner.
Fair.
That, like, in fairness, like, you have to sort of wait until you get out of turns 3 and 4 and get back on the straightaway to get onto the concrete again. Like, that's the courteous thing to do. But yeah, Connor was not lifting. Like, 2 wrongs.
It also looked like he was going to cut the apron too, as well. Like, obviously, you accept both wrongs being right, but it looked like his angle, he was going to go on that concrete regardless of how he's going to try to zip it around Denny. So, just a very weird situation. Odie obviously didn't hold the brakes. It looks like he checked up. I don't know. He hit something minorly, but not enough really to damage his car all that much. There's James Wright. Did he have anything?
Pit stop under green for James Wright here, and you see the damage. That would be the cause of that pit stop under green. Trying to get some of that work done. He is now 3 laps down.
I do want to say one
Jr.,
more
Martin
thing.
Roberg, and Josh Arnold all out.
Want to say one more thing. Remember, the incident DQ limit is 17. So Morse has got to be careful because we saw him already have a couple run-ins here. If he's already probably bleeding close to that limit, if not near it. So they got to be careful, these drivers, make sure they don't give too many incident points, or they could be finding a quick way to the pit lane. But taking a look here at the updated, not the updated standings, what the standings were coming into tonight, and look at Josh Gaiman. He got 0 stage points in the first stage, and coming in, he was probably in a must-win, and now just got involved in some heavy damage at 33. It looks like he is still continuing on, though, but right now that is probably, again, with no stage points in the first stage, and likely he won't get in the second stage, he's now probably in a must-win category. With the one to go on the pace car, it's going to pull on in, going to be on the control of that number 12 machine. Dustin Hall going to need a little bit of luck for some drivers to have some bad runs. Away he will fly. Good restart, but Apperson going to follow suit here as they'll be side by side in the one. But Hall going to get clear. Now Apperson going to try to get ahead of Mongol, but look at Mongol making up for that bad restart he had last time by. They're going to battle hard for second. Further back here, Wyatt and Peach side by side. Peach had a cushion, knowing every point matters, can give himself even more of a cushion. Wyatt gets a little loose. Peach now up a spot. And with more of those cars getting fanned out like Brayout, Clavitt, Withers, it's allowing these cars with slightly better tire advantages to make moves here. Peach loves that high side. We saw it at Darlington, we saw it at Chicagoland. He loves ripping it high, and he's making it work here for his troubles. And with the stage being so short to a finish, this is really working out for him right now, just to rip it on that high side and just get it done. Oh, Apperson got a little loose there, tried to close the door, couldn't hang on. Peach now clear, so put Peach up to third. Wyatt going to follow suit on the inside line. Apperson trying to really rip it here, trying to be in the hornet's nest here. Wyatt will get clear. Apperson going to hang up. Sosi going to try to over-under him as we speak.
Sport tire begins to become a small factor as this stage goes along. The cautions have really put a start-stop emphasis on this, and it's really checked up a lot of the playoff drivers trying to get back up to Dustin Hall. Hunter Peach getting the best run out of anybody here, and he needs to right now. And as it sits right now, Wygent would be the last one in the playoffs. So Peach right now on the out. Well, no, sorry, Peach is the last one in because Wygent would be out with Dustin Hall right now leading the way.
Correct.
So very important for Wygent to try to make some inroads here. Got to contest with Peach. Got to try to get around Austin Mongol here, who's not easy to pass at Bristol. And you see that. Mongol checked up the 00 and is going to get him here. Caution's out again.
Looks like it was 55 at James Wright said cursed on the radio, so I thought it was him, but I don't think it was. Trying to see who it was, but right now I've got drawing a blank.
Find it here. Oh, Josh Gaiman. Josh Gaiman spins around.
Not
relatively
anything,
easy, all things considered. Hey, I think James Wright ran into the back of Richard Odie here.
Yeah, so right over
or not Odie, or maybe
no, Odie didn't have that crinkle on the corner panel.
Oh, yes, he did. Went into the back of Odie because Odie moved up to avoid the spinning Josh Gaiman. So that's where the contact was.
And Wright would have been the lucky dog there, but obviously since, well, he got involved in the incident, he will not be the lucky dog. Thus meaning he will stay 3 laps down, still getting us 22 cars on the lead lap. And obviously with Gibney, Roberg, and Arnold, obviously Arnold out of the race, and Roberg and Gibney still on pit lane, so we will not actually get a lucky dog here. And it will just be business as normal here. But one car pitting, that is Dean Clavitt. He's going to throw down pit lane here, give up his P9 to come down for service.
So stage 2 ends on lap 225. So that's where we're at right now.
If the stage ends at 225,
no, sorry, 125.
I was gonna say, yeah, we would be done. That would be a long stage.
Yeah, stage 2 ends on lap 125. So we're 25 laps to go to the end of stage 2, and then obviously we have 100 laps, give or take the caution laps, for stage 3. So a little bit more important here, and now there's nothing in the way between Peach and Dustin Hall. So this is going to be very interesting. Again, Dustin Hall already won stage 1. Did a fantastic job in stage 1, leading bell to bell. Now his first real competition at the front of the field begins. Pacey Wygen will be outside row 2, which is where he wants to be. Susie outside row 3, alongside Zach Apperson. Katie Height inside row 4 with Tommy Withers. And then Zero inside row 5 with Lily Frazier. As work is being done on the 55 car still on pit lane. We're sitting here almost to the halfway point. Halfway is about, I'd say about lap 112, lap 113-ish. For everyone tuning in. We have a lot more going on. Tomorrow begins championship week. We're here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Tomorrow we move to Fontana. We'll be at Fontana a lot over the next 7 days. For the finale of the HTL Hammerdown Truck Series, 8 p.m. tomorrow night, right here on ABN Esports 1. No race, no broadcast Wednesday or Thursday. ABN Champ Car off this week. We'll be back again live on Friday for the ARX Series from Lernerville. RX Racing Experience on dirt. We have the High Octane Series on Saturday from Rockingham. Sunday, the Windstyle Series finale from Homestead. And then next Monday, the HTL Cup Series finale from Fontana. Over the next 7 days. A lot of stuff going on here. Championship week for Windstyle and HTL. All coming up here. Front of the field, it's Dustin Hall and Hunter Peach. That'll lead the field to green. Dustin Hall in control of the restart. Austin Mongo, Pacey Wygent, row 2. Zach Apperson, Josh Susie, row 3. Your top 6, nose to tail. Green flag flies, and that was a very slow restart. That was a crawling restart, and Hunter Peach was asleep for it. Absolutely asleep on that restart. It gives Pacey Wygent second place. It gives Josh Susie third. Austin Mongo saves fourth. And here it goes, game on for Pacey Wygent, who right now is the odd one out if things stay as they are right now.
That shows the hunger Wygent needs, because again, we talked about how the math, Peach had that cushion of 15 over Wygent, and then the line's question. But if that shakes up, considering stage 1 was a 4-point swing, if that shakes now, that would be another at least 3-4 points, makes it within a distance that Peach, who had that cushion, could try to jump up, but it becomes a mute point if Wygent can win this race. So right now, Wygent knowing if he can get those extra little points ahead of Peach, just in case Hall finds his way to victory lane. So we get a nice little inside look at the cutaway car there. But if Wygent can get that win, that makes a mute point, but also cut that deficit, make it a shorter distance, and you can really help yourself out, considering right now Peach is buried behind Mongold and is struggling to go forward, similar to what Wygent hasn't been able to do.
And right now riding on board here with Wygent, double zero car, trying to make some inroads there on the 12. They've stabilized momentarily, coming to 16 laps to go. Meanwhile, Peach still struggling to get around Austin Mongo right now. Austin Mongo doing a great job staying in the top 5, in 4th place at the moment. As they roll around here, just go to 15 laps to go. This is the 90. This is Dean Clavitt riding on board with him. Trying to get around the 44 of Jeremy Braille. This is the battle for 14.
Yep, battle for 14.
You see him just not making any inroads here. The outside lane, such a prevalent lane here. Clavis being frustrated, just kind of not being able to go anywhere right now. Everyone, I think, has the idea pretty well locked in as the sun is completely set. The track is getting cooler. Everyone largely knows where they need to be. Clavitt trying to work his way around. There's Eli Sasek, who is back on the lead lap right now in that 13th spot. Caitlin Height sitting right now 6th, looking at the top 5. And you see Pacey Wygent trying to chip away once again at that gap. Tags the wall just a smidge for the double zero car, trying to get around the 12 of Dustin Hall, giving him just enough space. If he wants the outside lane, he's got to run the wall to get it. Wygent does not feel comfortable driving underneath that 12 car right now, and it's understandable. There's not really anything to gain here. The outside lane one-on-one, super strong at the moment. Wygent's got to try to force the 12 down the racetrack. And you see Wygent had an opportunity to drive to the inside. It's a losing fight, and with Josh Susie right there, not a whole lot you can do here, and Wygent will go this time. After the 12. Side by side. Oh, wall contact for Hall.
Yep, gotta be careful. You can only get
after leading 101 laps. That was the last thing he needed. Whoa, contact with Susie.
You gotta be careful. It can go from
And
bad to
very
worse
careful.
here. Yeah, it could unravel just with the drop of a hat. So you need to regroup yourself. Sosi just got a tank slapper. He saves it though. But this is kind of like, all right, you got to take your lumps here. It hurts, but at least it didn't get worse. At least he didn't get hooked. At least you're still pointing the right direction. And you can now make the attack again here. Hall has a fast car. Question is it a good long-run car? We'll find out shortly. But I want to also give a hat tip right now to Mongold. We were talking about how he won the National Series, how he won a race here. Right now, he's doing a good job P4 on that alt strategy where his main Capadondes fell down the order on those older spins. He has made it work to a treat, and he could be a dark horse here if he can keep this going. But Hall really struggling now down the third. That wall tap may have really hurt his confidence, or he's burned up his stuff by running a little bit too hard.
Could be any number of things. I don't see a lot of damage on that 12 car indicating any damage, but could definitely be tire wear loss here, and this is not going to help him at all. Here comes the battle for the race lead. This is Wygen and Susie coming to 5 laps to go in stage number 2. And it's all chase drivers right now in the top 5. As Hall falls out of the top 5. It's Peach in the top 5 now, as well as Lilac Sear and Caitlin Height, still side by side for the front of the field. 4 laps to go. Susie making that inside lane work better than anybody else right now. Side by side, this is going to be for the stage win. And right now, if you're Dustin Hall, you're really rooting for Josh Susie, and that's exactly what's happened right now. Susie gets ahead. Wygen tried the over-under, and it didn't work out. So Josh Susie will try to drive away, and he's going to drive away massively here. That battle that we saw earlier, doing nothing but hanging people up here as further back in the order. Last lap of the stage, Clavitt almost forced it 3 wide on Mongold and Dustin Hall. Everyone scrambling for stage points here. Frazier just moved Dustin Hall.
Yeah, Frazier just moved Hall there, and that's going to be no stage points for Hall. He went from...
After winning stage 1.
Yep. Frazier, no privilege. She just won that spot, and it was a move. You'll see it here again here. She's going, and just right there, doors
right
open. Like Hall was not even there, and that basically takes Hall out of contention for stage points. Frazier ends up getting 2 for troubles. So, just a very odd situation all around. But you can't blame Frazier for running hard. She doesn't care if you got a playoff banner on that thing. Looking at the stage results, Sosi gets max points at 10. YJ ends up getting 9. Sear gets 8. Height gets 7. Peach gets 6. Mongold finishes 7th for 5. Austin Mongold gets 4 with 6. Frazier, Henderson, Blowers, your top 10.
Good shot for Henderson, though, also getting stage points here. Top 10 in that stage as well, as everyone comes down pit lane. Again, don't see any damage on that 12 car. Could be a lot of tire wear on that 12, though. Gets his first pit box. Josh Susie getting a 14.1 second pit stop. Will keep him in the race lead. 14.1 for Susie. This is a longer... Oh. This is a way longer pit stop right now for Dustin Hall. Oh, that is a big problem here. You see... Well, if there's a... Again, don't see any recognizable damage here.
Left rear seems to be the thing. But
so Hall... Here, of course, they did a lot of work on the left side of that number 12 machine, so he's going to fall down the order, and he's going to come back down pit lane. Oh, so there's more damage going on right now than what we thought for that 12 machine. Oh, dear.
yeah, that explains why he fell like a parachute there.
Well, that was at the end of the stage for like, that's when Frazier made contact with him, because he tagged the wall on the outside. Really good look there from one of our cameras on the inside of the racetrack as he tries to just stay on lead lap.
So while we wait for that, quick little update of where everyone lies right now coming into the final stage here. Doing my own little home math here. Looking at it, Peach right now is plus 11 to the line. Wygen is plus 6, and Zier is now minus 6 first driver out, with Hall being minus 22 and Josh Gaiman pretty much being in a must-win, we can basically count him in that spot right now as he got 0 stage points. So overall, it's still to play for Vizier. If she can get a good run here in this final stage, she could try to lump Wygent. Meanwhile, Peach still got that cushion, but if he ends up having a big wreck here, a big incident, he could end up bleeding those points. So at the moment, looking at the final 4, it is currently Sosi, Height, Peach, Wygent have the tickets to Fontana. 2 of them have already got them cashed. We'll see who the other 2 can cash them before this race is concluded. Sosi will take the top, and he'll have control, and Wygent will be on the low line as we get ready to go green. Leave this time by. Wygent obviously we're fighting hard, and there's Zier. She knows the game plan. Whether she's been relayed it or not, it's a different story. Winning would be probably her best bet. If not, she needs to hope to try to make some inroads on Wygent and get 6 spots clear of that 0-0 machine. Peach obviously just got to stay close to the front. He should be good. Pace car going to take the lonesome trip down pit lane. 22 cars on the lead lap. Sosi will take the control here. Green flag is out, and away we go. And in 6-6, Lady Liberty jumps to a great restart here, almost on cue. They will both get around Wygent for first and second, respectively, as Peach is going to try to challenge Zier here, and Frazier also trying to crash the party for the top 5.
Well, trouble is Henderson. Henderson ended up having to get down off the racetrack there, but saved it. An outstanding job for Henderson. Although he'll lose a lot of spots, better than having a junk race car at this point in the race. Susie leads, Caitlin Heights second. Right now, this is the best friend for Pacey Wygent and Hunter Beach, making sure a new driver does not win. If things stand. This is Dean Clabber riding on board with Snap-on number 90. Trying to find a way to use the outside lane to make things happen. This is the longest stage of the race by about 25 laps. And you're right on board with the 90 of Clavitt, who is on his way surging forward. Here's Pacey Wygent in the 0-0 in third. Wygent would love to hold off Clavitt here. Clavitt would love to play spoiler.
Clavitt obviously not running for pride, wants to get a win here before the season concludes. He's not likely to come back next year. So, hey, it would be great to get that 90 victory lane, to quote his own words. As he's now side by side, he will get clear. Wygent and Peach will also follow suit there, being a little bit sneaky. Not fully cleared yet, though, but putting himself in the opportunity. Clavitt really going here, as he is on the fast track towards the front along with Hunter Beach. As he's side by side as he ride on board with the NordVPN 3 machine. Yeah, Clavitt really just in a here and now moment. Gonna get clear now to second, and you can't even see Height, can't even close the door, because you'll see the Halloween 20 machine of the Sour Patch Kids go around the high side as well. So second and third, Clavitt and Peach maybe in a game plan. They just want to get to the front here. Screw the possible green flag pit stop that looms on the horizon.
Yeah, I think everyone's got a pit stop here going into this stage. It just, when do you want to take that pit stop here? Dustin Hall knows he's behind the 8 ball, knows he's in a must-win situation at this point in time. Dustin Hall led over 100 laps, 101 laps to be exact. It's going to be very hard to get to that number. Whoa! Hall spins!
Oh, Hall.
Oh no! In contact with Slotsworth. Caution's out. Dustin Hall.
Out. Yep, looks like it's minor damage. Luckily, he'll get it spun around.
Oh, he
for
got
going.
slammed by Slotsworth, though.
Trying to get
he
it
got
gunned up
absolutely
here.
slammed. I was keeping an eye on him from the broadcast booth up here, and you're going to see Slotsworth just murders the back of that car. Oh, no.
The good news is
he was pushing so hard.
Down. Yeah, the good news is he won't go a lap down, but that's still heavy damage, and that could be like, apron hit for the 12, gets loose, shoots up the road, and yeah, Slotsworth has nowhere to go, and that just gave him a big old parachute on the left corner panel there.
Yeah, it was already a damaged left side for Dustin Hall, right on board here with Slotsworth, who ends up with a very crumpled and front end. That's a helpless feeling. This track is full of helpless feelings. When things go sideways, they go really wrong. And you can kind of see some of the damage on Slotsworth's car here.
Was revving his tires in pit lane.
Yeah, he was trying to get going. Unfortunately for Swansworth, I think he's kind of stuck there for a little bit. And you see the damage on the back of Dustin Hall's car. That car has been abused.
It's just a help because you win stage 1, you feel like you're trending in the right direction. He'll now get away, but it just feels helpless because Bristol takes no prisoners sometimes. Stage 2 got kind of stunk, and then had to try to recover, and well, now he's basically lost all that ground he just made, and has now got less laps to try to cut up. Honestly, if I'm him at this point, I think you got to try alternate strategies. You got to try something different here because I don't think the odds of being able to cut up through the field here and get those spots back now with that damage is relatively high. But I think he's just got to cut losses, say, look, this is the hand we're dealt. We know we can't point our way in. We got to think about how to get a win here. And let's look at the shades of what we saw Braille do at Kentucky. What Josh Arnold did at Chicagoland last week. They tried some different strategies. In Wright's case, he tried the undercut. In Braille's case, he tried to make it work on one last stop. Neither worked. But you can respect the commitment of trying something, and if I'm either right now Hall, if I'm Gaiman as well, remember he's floating around here, he's in a must-win. You got to try something different. You got to throw a Hail Mary at the wall and see what you can do. Because right now, it's unlikely you're going to carve your way back up to the field. So try something different. So it looks like Sosi will take the top again, as leader does get choice of where he wants to go after everyone else had the file in inside outside. So overall, good call there by Sosi. It worked last time. We'll be linked up again with teammate Caitlin Height. Callie's obviously on the bench. Caitlin Height is currently here, and she will take the outside line, try to get the lunge Lady Liberty needs to get those top 2 spots again. 1 lap to go out on the pace car here, and we are going to go green again. Clavitt and Peach were moving forward in that stint. Now pinned on the low side. The question is, how quickly can those 2 cars get to their favorite spot, the top side, and try to charge forward? Now, question is, can Sosi do the magic again? Pace car gonna get on ready here and take the lonesome trip down pit lane. Green flag is out, and away we go. Good launch there. Clavitt bogged down. You can see the accordion effect there as Peach got into Clavitt, Wygent got into Peach, and Blowers got into Wygent, and Braille got in the Blowers. Slight little contact there, like a stack up on the interstate, and you can see top 3 Frazier also going to get clear as well. So Clavitt caught napping, pinned on that low side, which is he does not want to beat. Peach went clear. Now Frazier up to the 3rd spot. She qualified top 10. Has not really been in a spot this season, really in a capitalizing win spot. She wants it. High side, going to try to do what not a lot of drivers have done and take spots away from Lady Liberty. Peach going to try to capitalize on the highs. Oh, Peach got hooked by Clavitt. Inside wall, hard hit. Peach, major damage from that. No caution called, but he hit that wall going about 70. There's no way that car... And look at that front end damage right now. And the question is, how is that thing going to drive? Because we saw Jones, it was enough to end his day. It hurt a lot of the cars. And we'll take a look again. And you're going to see, question is, did Peach get loose or Clavitt come up? Clavitt came up right into Peach. And you can just see the lick that took.
You can tell it's not intentional. Remember how Atlanta earlier in the season went? It was those 2, and Peach ended up the better of it because Clavitt ended up spun wrong way around. This is long-term karma coming back at the worst possible moment.
Because that opens the door for Zier right now. He is 14th, though, and considering the gap was about, if my math was correct, it was 11 above the line and about 15 or 16 points away ahead of Zier. So overall, that is still okay considering how many cars are left. Right now, it's only 22 plus 14. It's give or take an 8-point swing. So Peach is still technically in considering where Zier is. But that can easily change if we get a new winner or if something else happens here. Now Peach is down pit lane. He has to fix that machine. He will go at least 1 lap down. I don't think Frazier's led so far this season, and I think she's trying to get her first career laps led in that 57 She may have led
Frazier has
Daytona.
led laps. She led laps when she was racing for Arrowhead in the 11 car because she led at most of the plate tracks.
Yeah. She also led,
But-
at the Clash, so she's led before, but trying to do it in her new home leads laps.
And Frazier right now separating the two Lady Liberty Motorsports teammates here. First, second, and third on your screen. This is from Frazier looking back at Caitlin Height. And there is Dean Clavitt, now behind Zach Apperson in the top 5, though.
I'm trying to watch right now as we watch this battle here with Clavitt. I'm trying to keep an eye on Peach's steering column right now, how bent it may be. It looks a little broken considering how much he has to arc it into the corner. So that thing is damaged. He won't be able to fix it. So you look here, look at kind of how he's turning it there a little bit more than you usually need to do in that corner. Yeah, versus Susie, you can see that yellow is that orange stripe is a lot lower than Susie, especially on the straight where he's pretty much got it flat, while basically Peach has to whiskle that thing to keep it straight. He's got some steering damage, Hunter Peach, but again, surprisingly, with the cushion, Zier right now is not in a spot where she can really capitalize. Is right there. Height gets in the wall a tiny bit, and you know she's a driver. Yeah, she's a driver that's also nice to play with, and she'll remember that as she just gives the 57 a good old shunt, saying, if you're going to do that again, you're going to end up in defense.
No love lost between these two. I don't think I need to explain. No! Oh.
Contact.
Oh my goodness, and Frazier tries to stay out of pit lane and does. Oh my goodness.
Uh-oh. At
Oh,
least Height's
goodness.
got a locked-in spot no matter what happens.
Yeah, but next week's another day.
By the way, while we're checking replays, let's check at Connor Morse here. I think he had an aggressive move too. No, sorry, Clavitt, and Clavitt got into Apperson as well while we were watching that.
Well, there, yeah, Morris is in that as well, but Morris is.
Yeah, this is live. So we're looking back live, but Apperson and Clavitt got into each other. They're complaining on the radio right now. That opened door for Morse to get through, so now he's sitting in third. Question as well, he's close to the incident limit, so it's just a weird situation all around. There's Withers, there's Wygant, as the top two Lady Liberty cars now open 2 seconds. This is the replay. There's the contact, and that opens the door for Morse to make a run on Clavitt.
So, popped off for a second there. That was concerning. And you look at the gaggle of cars. Look at the absolute mess. You got Clavitt, Apperson. There's trying to look further back in that order. That looks like that's Withers. Oh, trouble, and that is Wygant.
Caution not coming out here. Now Denny's done.
Not out yet. That was Zier involved as well. That's Denny. That's Thompson.
No caution called.
Hang on to it is beyond me. Oh my goodness.
Some complaining why there was a caution. Simply, no cars spun, as we saw on the wide shot.
Spun. No one came to a stop.
So stay green. That's going to give him a bigger cushion to the top two. And now Morris on an island. We'll take a look here again. You'll just see it right here. Keep an eye on that 00 on the low side. Could be the situation here. You can see
checked up by the 4 Apperson. Oh, gets run into by Flores. Oof. That easily could have been a massive pile up there, and they were working on it. They were absolutely working on it.
And it gets interesting. White is now falling down to 12th, right in front of Lilac Zier. Now back to live action.
And they're both behind Dustin Hall.
Yeah,
there's Hall right there, going up to the top.
Hall's in a must-win, though. And right now, Sosi almost got into Peach. As Peach is going a lap down here again. You can see right now it's 2-3 wide. Flores making no friends here. Clavitt's tires have clipped.
Here. He is falling on the way backwards 3 wide. That's risky. Whoa! It just moves. Flores. And that almost was a disaster. That is Clavitt in the wall. Zier goes forward. Wygant falls backwards even more, and this is a disaster.
Because remember, right now it's a 6-point swing between Zier and Wygant unofficially right now. That could be higher or slower, but it's around 6 points. And Zier's now 2 spots clear, about to be 1. And that could easily swing out. So right now, Wygant was looking clear. Peach, at the moment, surprisingly, is okayly safe, but he's 3 down in 22nd. He needs more chaos and more cars to retire to make that gap shorter, because right now, there's a good chance you could say Zier may be in. We'll do the math after this ends, but right now it is still all to play for here. And one with Wygent, Zier, Peach using a lot of their lives, even Dustin Hall. Anything could shake up, but right now, with Hall and Gaiman being in must-wins, and then both of them being 7 seconds adrift to the top two, probably going to need a caution for them to get back as Clap. You can see the clipping tires really affecting that 90 as he has now fallen even further back.
This was wild. That's Apperson also struggling. As Dustin Hall moves forward, that's Zier also moving forward as well. The 50 car in a way better shape physically than the 12. As one under a blanket. Hall back up to 8th though. He's looking fantastic at the moment.
This is the chaos game, and like we're talking about, in a must-win spot is in 6th position, trying to charge forward here. 6 seconds back adrift. The one thing that may help him is technically 2 Lady Liberty teammates up the line, so if you get close enough, they may cut him some slack, but he still has to get there first and work his way through the trifecta. There's Withers. That would be a top 5 spot if Gaming can get around, but Gaming can be his own worst enemy at times. He needs to be quick, needs to be aggressive, but the last time he was, ended up hooking him around. There's Hunter Peach, 3 laps down. Gonna need either Zier or Wygent to have some major chaos if he wants to get in, and obviously no new winner if he wants to survive this. Gaiman gonna rip it low. It's got the pressure from Bray off behind as well, so it is a big battle here for 5th position.
12 laps led in this race for Withers, who's right now sitting in that top 5 in 5th. Gaiman trying to find a way around him.
Remember, we still have at least a green flag pit stop alarming for these drivers, and now that raises the question. Gaiman gets in the Withers. Around he goes. Yellow is out, and that will be the caution. Told you about being over-aggressive. Be your own worst enemy. Well, Gaiman just got into the back of Withers, and all that time gain is now gone. Taking a look at the replay here.
Sask will be the first car a lap down, so he'll get the free pass, and that is just Gaiman drifting up the racetrack there. Getting really tight.
Take a second look here, because it looks like Withers does clip the wall a bit here. High in the sky camera. It's going to be this straightaway we're watching here. 3 drifting high. Nails the wall, but even then the pink back.
As much as Withers tags the wall, he stays up on the wall.
Yeah, he doesn't shoot down that much, enough to really clip game in there. As you see again here, waiting for on the back camera, Withers. It's going to mow the wall here. True. It's a weird situation all around. Withers is apologetic on the radio, but it doesn't really mean much when you end up the wrong way around here. Looking at Gaiman, see if anything tells. Yeah, there's a speed differential. Gaiman did rush up a little bit, but if Withers doesn't hit that wall, Gaiman probably doesn't run into Withers. So, with a speed differential. So, we'll have the caution here on lap 187. Sasa gets the lucky dog. Cars pitting in here, but more importantly, yep, everyone has come in for the presumably their final pit stop here. And this is a bailout for Henderson, Braille, Zier, Hall, who looks like he's had to come back down pit lane again for longer service here. So any spots gained, he's going to lose, as he's come in a second time, along with Sasek, who obviously was the lucky dog. Way he will go, only a 7-second stop for himself, so odd he came in again. True, but he was like net P6, more importantly, so he's going to have to make that all up again.
So he's working, because he was in a point where obviously we had everyone sort of in chaos here. He's hoping that one, where people were involved in incidents, that he's able to avoid, but also he was in a never-win situation because he had the worst-looking race car with Wygent and Zier around him. Mm-hmm. You're not going to win when you have 2 cars that are just better than you right now. So he needs to repair that car to get it to a point where he possibly can get in, because if this does get chaotic and, you know, we're still around 40 laps to go in this race. It very well can. You want to have a shot later in the race, and you don't really have a shot if you're wounded, because you're not going to be the race leader like that. So Dustin Hall is going for okay, let's fix the car, hope that this group does what they do, and that we have a even bigger calamity, and then maybe throw a Hail Mary, maybe on the last restart if it's an overtime, and see what happens.
Interesting. Yeah, it will be interesting to see how it plays, but I kind of agree when you explain it like that, it makes a lot of sense. So we're going to get the one to go this time by Sosi Height control the lanes, and it's Henderson and Braille second row, Zier Blowers third, Mongol Wyjet row 4, Apperson Odie your top 5, Odie with the top 10. Pacer going to pull on off on the control of Sosi, and away we go. Good launch by Lady Liberty again. They will clear out and take the top 2. Braille going to try to rip around the high side, but Henderson trying to hold at the moment, but Braille going to try to get that spot and take away the last step of the podium. Successfully do that. See the field zoom on by here. You can just see everyone's pretty spaced out here for a little bit here. Cars fight for spots here, trying to get ahead and behind. As all battles on track, beginning to commensurate. There's Shat Swatsworth currently sitting at the moment, one of the first cars a lap down here, actually multiple down here, just trying to finish this race, trying to get some good experience here, trying to put down a good finish. He can be proud of more chaos, ends up popping off here. But back to the race leader, Joshua Sosi. It's Sosi, Height, Braille, 1, 2, 3, and Braille. We've quoted before him saying second sucks, and you know he wants a win here. He is hungry to find victory lane. See if he can do that with the remaining laps remaining here. But Zier, currently in 4th, she's right now in the Final 4 with obviously the trouble Peach has had. Both herself and Wyjet are in that top 4, tentatively right now, but you don't want to throw it away, trying to go for that win if you can help it.
I'm looking further back here in the running order. It's a little bit of contact between 91 and the 4. They've both been into each other multiple times over the last couple laps, trying to drive each other super hard right now, and you see a little bit of latency there by Mongold, the 91. Remember, Mongold is in danger of being in the line of another hurricane. He's in Florida. Was not supposed to be here today. Only reason he's here today is because he's evacuating tomorrow. So priorities, are they in the right place? No idea. But we're seeing a little bit more inconsistencies with the 91 as this race progresses here. So concern there. Whoa! Contact! That was Frazier and Mongold. This is just inside the top 10, 8th, 9th, and 10th, riding on board with the 10th place car. And here comes Dustin Hall. 12 car. Right to the inside of who we're on board with right now. That's Apperson riding on board with. And you're going to see, slid back there from Mongold now. That is Dustin Hall in the inside lane. Fresh tires on the field, importantly. He's got a chance, because he's already moved up from 20th place. Already working on top 10 right now. If Akasha comes out, it's going to be very interesting. Getting 10th place from Apperson.
Yeah, that car is fast. You can see Peach going to go another lap down. He's just hoping something happens to Zier or Wyjet or both, as he's getting trained on the high side here, just trying to hang on, hope stuff happens. But quoting Hall here, he's got probably the fastest car tonight if he can get up there. So it's not all doom and gloom for the Hall fans. This is going to be a Herculean task. But you can see right now going low side on Frazier, knowing how Frazier treated him at the end of stage 2. You know, no love lost between the two of them. He will use that 57 up if he needs to get clear. Can't be overexergent, but considering 23 laps to go, they can go by in a flash. There's the shunt on the back end. Pressure's on. He knows he's got to go. Car hits the wall a little bit. That looks like it's Morris just up the road here.
It is Morris, yeah. 74.
So what will Hall do? How aggressive will he be? He knows that high side where he wants to be, but right there's a Dr. Pepper machine blocking his line. It's still battle on here. Laps ticking away. 21 laps to go. About to be 20. The pumpkin could turn into the Cinderella cart could turn into a pumpkin if Paul's not careful. But he's got to move here. 20 laps to go.
Yeah, Frazier tried helping out, and this is the reason why is because Zier is relying on making sure that Dustin Hall does not get to the front of the field here. He is driving through. He is the fastest car on the racetrack at the moment. And Mongold got loose, giving Dustin Hall 8th place there. So Hall charging forward again. With how things are looking right now, I don't think he's got the time to just reel in a second and a half and get through all this traffic, but he's making it entertaining. Putting it all on the racetrack here at the moment.
He's in the cars that are probably going to need a caution, one more chance to really give himself a lunge here. But obviously how this field's raced, the cautions can breed plentifully here, but again, what hurts right now, Hall, is the main ride he wants to run is being occupied by Blowers, Wygen, Henderson, Braille. They're all on the same lines, so he's got to try to mosey on down. Problem is, it's easier said than done when you feel very confident in one lane. 16 laps to go, about to be 15. Sosi controlling the field, and if he can do what he's doing tonight, next week, he'll be the first two-time champion in the HTL Cup Series. Zier right now in 3rd. She's tentatively in with the stress Peach has had. She would take the last spot in, but...
Whoa! Hall just tagged the wall. Sorry, I was watching further back in the order. Hall tagged the wall, trying to get around Blowers, drift a little bit too deep.
You can see the pressure. He knows this is his last chance. He's got to push and really try to make something happen here. Peach will go another lap down, back riding on board here with Hall. And I'm going to try to get around Blowers for 7th. Wygen a little loose up the road there. Has to pull it back in line. That will check down Blowers. In turn, give Hall a spot. Maybe going to try to make it 2. But right now, Blowers still on that high side. There's Hunter Peach. He's been unlucky tonight. He'll have to concede spots. Blowers not going away here as we got 12 laps to go, matching the car number of that number 12.
Blowers and Hall trading a little bit of paint there. And this is where sort of Hall just sort of stalls out here because everyone's in the dominant lane. And unfortunately, just where it is right now. Also, the flowers for Blake Henderson right now, top 5. If he can hold on to it ahead of Wygen at the moment. He's done an outstanding job. His first race back in several weeks. Doing an outstanding job right now. Even if he falls back a little bit here, still an outstanding job. Wygen trying his best. Jeremy Braille right now looking at another podium if things stay as they are right now. And Josh Susi right now sitting in the front of the field ahead of Caitlin Height. Pacey Wygen again still struggling to get around the 25 of Henderson here.
Knowing Braille just ran the fastest laps of the best of the field here the past 2 times. He's got that speed right now at the moment. Quicker last time by, quicker this time by. He's making some inroads, but it's going to be a Herculean task to try to get around either car here. 7 laps to go, though. The gap is 6/10. If he can get that run, make that high side work, he may need to make something happen, but he just hits the wall right there a little bit. That's going to shave off just a tiny bit of speed.
This is the battle that I've been keeping an eye on because this is a tough fight here between Wygen and Henderson. Henderson trying to hold on to that top 5.
Obviously, Wygen right now still clear at the moment. Just wants to ensure he gets those extra points just in case. Henderson obviously first race back in a while, trying to get clear here, trying to get a top 5 or top 10. Blowers aggressively on that low side. He wants that top 6. Yeah, Hall's just kind of stinked out here. 4 laps to go. The driver is going to need a miracle caution if he wants any sort of chance to make this work. At least we'll get around Henderson, who looks like his tires may have clipped.
Yeah, they 100% did. They fell off hard there. 4 laps to go for Josh Susi. 3 laps to go now for the race leader. And right now, you're looking bottom of your screen, the 4 possible championship contenders, if things hold on, with Jimmy Braille in the middle. 2 laps to go for Josh Susi. He just has to put it together for less than 1 more mile. Josh Susi. 1 to go into Fontana with the ultimate high. White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go, presented by Henderson Graphics. Less than a quarter mile left for Josh Susi, who will be victorious. Josh Susi wins in Thunder Valley. He wins at Bristol Ahead of Caitlin Height, the top 2 in the championship, 1-2 going into Fontana. Ahead of Jeremy Braut, who rounds out the podium. Lilac Zier in 4th, Pacey Wygen in 5th, and we believe mathematically they have done enough for both of them to punch their tickets into the final race, battling here in Fontana next week.
Worth noting, just started to cut you off, we got some beef back here. Morse spun Thompson, and Gibby tried to clash in here. So chaos here at the end, but regardless, that's not going to matter for Josh Sosi. He's a race winner. He's going to have all the momentum going in the next week. And worth noting as well, Hunter Peach has signified defeat. He's 10 points back according to his own math. So it looks like the Final Four is pretty much set. Sosi, Height, Zier, and Wygen will be the top 4. So take a quick look here at the end here with Morse. Morse and Thompson were chirping on the radio here coming to the line. You're going to see popping up the road here in a second. It looks like they're coming to the checker now, at least if my lap counter is correct. There, Morris going by Thompson. Thompson came down to Morris. Morris then retaliates. And then Gibney retaliates on Morris, but ends up hitting the incinerator. Odd situation all around here. Tempest Flare, it is Bristol. As short track action does end up playing a big factor here. But regardless, that does not matter our race winner, Josh Sosi, as he will take the win in his Hello Kitty machine and get 2 wins in this final 3, and will try to make it 3 out of 4 in 4 weeks and be the champion next week. Still a long way to go, but he is clearly odds-on favorite to take the championship heading into next week.
Yeah, we'll talk to our podium finishes here in a moment. Obviously, everyone's still debriefing after a wild race here in Bristol. Again, it looks like Josh Sosi, Caitlin Height, Lilac Zier, and Pacey Wygen will be the 4 championship contenders battling for a title in Fontana next week. It's going to be a wild race next Monday at 8 p.m. As you see the unofficial results, top of your screen is Josh Sosi, Caitlin Height, Jeremy Braut, your podium finishers here that we're going to try to get a word with in the end of this broadcast. Lilac Zier in 4th, Pacey Wygen, and Bobby Blowers, your top 6 there. Dustin Hall, 7th place, ahead of Blake Henderson. Blake Henderson, still a good result, top 10 in his first race back in several weeks. Austin Mongold, top 10 as well, ahead of Louis Frazier. Zach Apperson and Josh Gaiman round out your top 12 here in Bristol Motor Speedway. Just an absolutely outstanding result there. As we look further down the order, Bailey Thompson, 13th here. Connor Morris, 14th, ahead of Dean Clavitt, who rounds out the top 15. Tommy Withers, Elias Flores, Richard Odie, Alfred Denny, and Elias Flores sit up and round out the top 10. Sasek went a lap down. Alfred Denny went a lap down as well. They were on lead lap until the very end there. Hunter Peach, one of the last cars to finish finish the race here in 21st. Chad Spotsworth is the last finisher to take the checkered flag here in 22nd position. James Wright, 23rd, DNF. Same with Kevin Gibney Jr., who was on the racetrack at the very end, but 130 laps down for Kevin Gibney Jr. Just running laps, just to run laps there at the end. Josh Arnold, his championship competition run comes to an end here again at Bristol Motor Speedway. Heartbreaking for the 2-car. Martin Roberg also out, and Byron Jones, the very first retirement, having only made it 70 laps in this race.
Yep, and doing some unofficial math here, it pretty much confirms what we speculate. The Final Four is going to be Sosi, Height, obviously win the past 2 weeks, and the last 2 spots go to Wygen, who was, if my math is correct, 10 above the cut line, and Zier, who was 5 points above the cut line, if my math is correct. But regardless, still a great showing by all the cars in this Final 8. Even Dustin Hall in the chat saying that incident was his fault there on the end of Stage 2. Tried to do what he could do, but he is happy with the result he had regardless this season. So, again, we'll wait, obviously, for the main dogs to confirm it, but it seems like speculatory math is correct, and those are the 4 drivers that will be fighting for a championship next week at Fontana, and presumably also be fighting for the owner's glory as well.
So with all of this put together, we're going to go ahead and talk to our race winner, Josh Sosi, who's going to have a fantastic run into Fontana here. Obviously, most momentum goes into this for Josh Susie. Josh, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. Get a copy.
Yeah, I got you, Carmen.
Alrighty, this was a wild race for you. That car looked pretty strong. Didn't have the greatest qualifying effort, 7th place to start there, and it really took until stage 2 to get that car really fired up and at the front of the field. But once that 81 got some clean air, it seemed like it was lights out for you in the 81 crew. Walk us through your race and obviously just how comfortable it is going into Fontana with the most momentum on your back here, trying to go back to back in the championships.
Yeah, I was just trying to be super patient. The first couple stages, I had nothing on the line for me personally, being already locked into next week. And as I always try to adopt for here, it's a long run mentality and saving that right front tire. Uh, you really saw it there in stage 1. We had like a 40 lap run or so, and like those last, I don't know, 3 or 4 laps, I was knocking off 3/4 on Hall, who was the leader at the time. So yeah, I mean, I just try to adopt that mentality. When you start middle of the top 10 towards the backside of the top 10, it's kind of a danger zone because you got people trying to push forward. So it's hard to attack and defend. Just try to get in a good position and ride. Like I said, save that right front. I was able to get a decent finish in stage 1, and then some people pit right before the end of stage 1. So like I lost 5 spots right there, and it put me back in the danger zone again. So it's just same thing, just ride and bide my time and wait for other people to mess up or just get them on the long run. And once I was able to establish positioning, just try to keep continuing to save and only run as hard as I needed to. Because those people that were ripping the top, they'd 10, 15 laps they could run really, really quick, and then after that they started falling off. So they just kind of had to defend, those first 15 laps or so, and while not pushing it as hard as I could have.
That 81 car looked really strong tonight, both in the outside lane and the inside lane. You were one of the few cars that hooked up the inside lane and it was making passes, even when it became sort of a one-on-one fight. This is typically a track where the outside lane is prevalent here, and we saw that in this race. But for you, though, that inside lane worked pretty well. What was the secret to making the inside lane work, especially managing traffic, especially once we got further into the tire run? Was it just tire saving?
Yeah, really. I mean, that's all it was. Is you got to keep the right front on it to utilize the bottom, because the first 15, 20 laps you can rip the hell out of the top, but it just kills your right front. And it's just being patient, kind of having that Harvick mentality of long run, and staying disciplined with the throttle, with the steering. There was a couple times, especially in the first couple stages, people would chase me down and be ripping the mid to the top, and I just let them go. I mean, hoping that another 10, 15 laps when I ran them back down, I get the same courtesy. It doesn't usually happen, but it worked out pretty well.
And obviously, you go into Fontana, most momentum on your shoulders here. You've won Fontana last season to grab the championship, and now it's a little bit more intense because you got your teammate Katie Height, who is right there with you tonight as well. You've got Lilac Sear, who we know is really good at Fontana, and then Pacey Wygen, he was really busting you in Schatz Wadsworth last year in Fontana as well. Going into next week, are we expecting another one of those typical Fontana all-out just slugfest that we normally come to expect here in HTL?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. Last season, Pacey was only running for the owner's title, which, I argue is still important, but it's not the creme de creme as far as it comes to the Cup Series or the Truck Series. You want that driver's title. So he didn't do anything unnecessarily stupid last season. They had that little bit extra missing that wasn't on the line, and that's not going to be the case this year. And then, of course, Caitlin wasn't in the title fight last year, and I fully expect her to be super strong. So just between the two of them alone, it's going to be a hell of a slugfest. And then Zier always usually has good long run speed and can throw some alt strats out there that you're not expecting. So I don't necessarily think there's a favorite, really. You say I had momentum. Look right behind me. Caitlin finished second, so it could have easily been her winning this race, or Pacey if he hadn't got caught up in some stuff. And Zier was trying to fresh tire things in stage 2. I was watching her in practice. Zier was trying some like 20, 30 lap runs, taking right side tires. So if we had had a caution after 40 lap run, I mean, who knows what would have happened? I could easily see as you're throwing rights on, and then can you get back around? It's tough at a track like this. So we'll see next week. Thankfully, it's a little bit more of a wide open track, but it's still track position is king, and it's gonna be a hell of a show.
It absolutely will be. It was an absolute show tonight as well. The 81 car in victory lane once again closing in on your teammate Caitlin Height's record as the driver with the most wins in HTL Cup Series history. Before we let you go and let you get ready for Fontana and everything that comes with it, if there's anyone to shout out and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congratulations on another race win here, and going to be a really fun fight to watch next week in Fontana as well.
Yeah, first and foremost, as always, Nitro Setups. Thank everyone at Lady Liberty and our alliance with Valfreya. Big shout out to Gaiman. Sorry you come up short. It's just, a bad round, really, and unfortunately, sometimes you just can't overcome it. And everyone that fought hard tonight. Congrats to everyone in the top 8 that gave it their all. Good luck to the Final Four next week. Hopefully, we're able to settle it amongst ourselves, but it's NASCAR, so it can just easily be someone not in the playoffs that unfortunately cost you. Hopefully that doesn't happen. So best of luck to everyone involved. Hopefully we can have a fair, hard-fought battle, and we'll see who comes out on top.
Absolutely a fantastic drive for Josh Susi, now the record holder for the most wins in a single season at 6. We'll see Josh Susi battling for a championship in 7 days in Fontana. Josh, enjoy the race win. We'll be hopefully talking to you again next week in California.
All right, thank you.
We'll go ahead and I'll hand it down to Kevin Young here, who's going to have Caitlin Height standing by here. Fantastic race for Caitlin Height. Kevin, take it away.
All right, we were here in second position with second place finisher Caitlin Height. First of all, how are you, Caitlin?
I'm okay. That was it was a race.
Was a race indeed. So we'll kind of take us through the kind of first 2 stages here. Obviously, you were showing some strong pace, but obviously knowing your mindset, you had that win. You didn't have to really worry about how hard you were racing. What was your mindset for the first 2 stages, knowing that you were already locked into the playoffs? What was the plan? Obviously, you wanted to win, but was it just here for fun? Were you trying not to make any enemies? What was the main mindset?
Basically, it was in between having fun and just, making sure I could keep track position so that nothing stupid would happen in the final stage, just because, as Dale Jr. said back in 2004, it's Bristol, baby. So you really have no idea what's going to happen, and just trying to put myself in a position to maybe grab another win here. But, it went to Sosi, and he had quite better long run pace. I just kept getting caught up in what I didn't want to have happen, was just being involved in races and not really being able to pace myself as much as I liked.
Mm-hmm. Moving further on, obviously on the second stage, you basically you got up to the front, you timed it, and you had some great restarts with Sosi. So I got to ask, with those restarts, I'm assuming both of you were in lockstep on the restarts there. Make sure you both got the same launch.
Yeah, we were pretty much sharing the same brain cell with all of that, just sort of like, all right, he's gonna go right now, and we would just get it, and it worked out to where I would be able to clear, the inside row on the exit of 2, and then just sort of drop down to do tire conservation.
Mm-hmm. Moving further on, obviously we saw you pulled out a big distance with Sosi when El popped off behind you. Then the field got reset around 185, and it was a dash to the finish. So take us through those last, like, let's say 10, 15 laps where you were battling Sosi. You had Bray out behind, Zier behind, YG behind, and you were playing strong. But do you think you had anything you could get around Sosi there, or were you just maybe riding, just trying to find a line, but Sosi was a little bit faster? What was going through those last 10, 15 laps where you were trying to hang on to second, maybe try to make a run for the win?
Oh, there wasn't anything I was gonna be able to do short of absolutely just bombing him, which would have been really stupid. But yeah, those last 10, 15, it was just I was pretty much committed into second place there. There was nothing I could do with the right front. So like I said, Sosi had much healthier tires all night long, just because of being able to clear traffic initially better than I was. So he just he just had that upper hand where with track position, really.
Mm-hmm. Moving further on, obviously, second place is a great finish tonight, but obviously with your win at Chicagoland, you're already locked in. So let's kind of shift forward here. Obviously, you, Sosi, and it seems Zier and YJ will be the final four. So thoughts on your competitors, and in turn, thoughts on Fontana. Do you think it's a track we can finally see you find that elusive championship you've been seeking?
I mean, it'd be amazing for me to grab the championship, but it's tough competition. Um, the top four didn't get there just by chance, and I hate the whole playoff system where it comes down to one race. Granted, it does sort of help me this season, missing 5 races compared to everyone else, but as much as I hate that, Auto Club has always been a strong track for me, and I know it's a strong track for the rest of the championship four, so anything can happen. Anyone could end up interjecting into a race and just changing the entire outcome, which in its own right would be in really poor taste, but you never know what will happen.
Yeah, you can never say it any better than what you just said it there. Anything's possible, anything can happen. So obviously, we got to the portion of the show. Does anyone want to thank family, friends, sponsors, whatever? The floor is yours. Take it away.
First off, want to thank everyone at Lady Liberty and Valfreya Conglomerate. Just once again, awesome job working together. Unfortunate for Josh Gaiman not being able to join us next week for the championship race. I want to thank Callie Height for the paint scheme again. Always a big backer in my corner. HTL admins, the ABN broadcasting booth, always giving us a great show. Uh, Emily, Kristina, Lexi for being big fans. Want to thank more fans out there: Rain, Zeke, uh, Ophelia, Chubbs, all of those that are watching, and congratulations on my older sister. She is pregnant.
Well, that is good to hear for her, and hopefully everything goes well in that regard. But it's been great talking to you, Caitlin. It's been fun, and obviously the season commences next week. Let's hope you can get some good luck, and hopefully we'll probably talk to you regardless at the end, but hopefully we'll be calling you a champion at the end of that. So you take care. Have a good rest of your week.
Thanks.
And that was our second place finisher. And I think it's only right if the team owner talks to the team driver for our third place finisher. Carmen, I think you found Jeremy over there.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting time period. Obviously, Jeremy Braille, another podium, another close call here in the HTL Cup Series. Jeremy, this is Carmen from the AVN booth. Obviously, really good racing there for that 44 car. Didn't have the strongest car in qualifying, started ninth. Not a bad effort, but immediately fell down the order. Walk us through just sort of having to climb through the field and obviously having to go through the mayhem to get onto the podium steps here in this race, because you saw a little bit of everything tonight.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, within like the first 3 laps, I checked up for something happening in front of me, and I, to be the nice guy and not cause a wreck, that's what basically happened. Is try not to just come back up onto the track when I got forced below the banking. But other than that, I mean, the first 25 laps there after that, I tried to just save tires, and then at the end of the stage, I tried to get as close to the top 15 as I could, and then luckily a caution came out with about 6 or something laps to go there before the end of the stage, and I pitted, took 4 tires, and sat at the back until the end of the stage, and after that got to get my track position back, and then tried to be up front best as I could throughout the night, but restarting on the inside was just terrible. There was just no way you could gain spots or even keep spots by restarting on the inside unless you were like killing the tires. And I just wasn't trying to kill the tires there on restarts, and just to have them for the end. And then finally on that final run there, the last 40 laps, whatever it was, I just tried to save enough tires as much as I could and got to third, and then with about 15 to go, started to go, and then went too early and used up my tires and didn't have a shot at the win. But third's not bad nonetheless.
Obviously, this is sort of, I think, the story for the 44 car, just having to sort of just chip away at things. And it's always these difficult tracks were difficult to pass, but that 44 car tends to shine the best. Fontana next week, the season finale. Obviously, that 44 car still needing a race win just to end off the season on a high note here. We know there's a championship fight between the other 4 drivers there that you were sort of sandwiched in between. You were in between all of them here tonight at the end. For that 44 car, we know, I think I already know the answer because I've seen this story a couple times. What is the perception, is the approach to next week's race just lick the stamp and try to play ultimate spoiler as it usually is for some of these drivers, or are you going to try to kind of tiptoe around some of these championship rivals? What's the approach going into the Fontana next week?
It's all gonna depend on how the race plays out. I mean, I'm gonna try and give the championship for all the space I can, because they're ultimately racing for the championship. So me racing for 11th or 10th or whatever I'm doing in points doesn't really matter. So at that point, I'm just gonna let them go. But if it comes down to it, with like 5 or 6 to go, and I'm up there in the top 3, and we're having a good battle, I'm just gonna go for it. As much as I would hate to take somebody out, I also want to win. But my goal is not to take any of them out and not to take anybody out. But if the chance is there for me to win, I'm gonna try and win.
Obviously, that's the main goal here. You've had a lot of near misses here in this season of HTL Cup Series racing. Obviously, we're a week away from the off season. Obviously, ARC's already in off season, so you get to kind of cruise into the fall here after next week's race. Before we let you go and let you get ready for Fontana and everything else coming up for you, Jeremy, if there's anyone you want to shout out and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congratulations on a podium here at Bristol. Well fought and well earned here after having to claw your way back up through the field across this race. But take it away.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, got to thank you for putting me in the car whenever Hagen got taken out. So thank you. I appreciate it. I've tried to put good runs together for the team, and third and a second for this car is I feel like I could do better, but hopefully we can get a win next week. And thanks to Spiel Racing Designs, John and April, they make the best schemes out there. So go check them out. And yeah, thanks to ABN for putting on the broadcast.
Absolutely a fantastic job for Jeremy Brayolt, that 44 car on the podium here tonight with 1 race to go in the season. Jeremy, we hope to get to talk to you again in 7 days' time, but enjoy it, and we'll see you in Fontana.
See you then.
That was Jeremy Brayolt, the 3rd place finisher here tonight. We went over the full results there. They're on the side of your screen. Josh Susi, Caitlin Height, and Jeremy Brayolt, the top 3 here. Lilac Zero and Pacey Wygant confirmed in the championship 4. The official points came out here, and I'll kind of go over that here momentarily because we're not going to have it on screen because we don't have the auto updating points like we do for Winstall. So Josh Susi, 2 race wins in this round of 8. He gets him 6 wins on the season so far. That's already a single season record, by the way. Caitlin Height had that record at 5 last season. Now Josh Susi has that with 6. With 1 race to go, Caitlin Height could still go and match her record that she had last season. She's got 4 wins so far, or Susi can set it to 7. We'll see how that plays out. Pacey Wygant, Lilac Zier, they made it in. Wygant by 11 points, Zier by 5. The gap to make it in was 5 points at the end. Hunter Peach on the wrong side of that. Dustin Hall minus 23. He missed by 23 points, but we kind of knew that. Kevin's math was pretty accurate after stage 2 as far as what we were looking at there for Dustin Hall. Josh Gaiman, he fell back even more. And Josh Arnold, his DNF tonight, ended up putting him 48 points behind. But still a good result nonetheless for all of those drivers to be in this contention point and to have it as close as it was, where no one was mathematically eliminated going into this.
Mm-hmm.
So really good fight there through the final 4. But it's Susi, Height, Wygant, and Zier that'll be battling for a championship in Fontana in 7 days' time. We went over it before. I'll go over it again. Tomorrow night, championship week begins. It's the HTL Hammer Down Truck Series. The final race of HTL trucks on Tuesday nights before the Challenger Series kicks off in 2025 on Thursdays. It's going to be a fun fight in Fontana next week as that series comes to an end in 2024. No race Wednesday or Thursday. on here on ABN Studios on YouTube. It's ARX, the ARX Racing Experience from Lernerville. Some dirt track racing there on Friday night. It is the High Octane Series, the High Octane Playoffs from Rockingham on Saturday. That is also at 8 p.m. right here on ABN Studios on YouTube. Sunday, right here on ABN 1, it's the finale of the HTL Cup Series. You'll see Kristina Ryan, our producer, on track in the 30 car in that race. I'll be in the booth, as always, for Winstel. You see the camera shaking. Kristina Ryan managing the robot cameras there. And then Monday, 8 p.m. Going to be a fun time with the HTL Cup Series finale at Fontana. That's the full week of rotation here on ABN. All that's going to be right here on ABN Esports 1 or ABN Studios on YouTube. But that'll do us from us here in Bristol. It's been a fun night. On behalf of everyone here for HTL for the Cup Series, my co-commentator Kevin Young, the producer behind the camera, Kristina Ryan, I'm Carmen Sienna. Thank y'all so much. We'll see you tomorrow night. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you next time in Fontana.